starter mentality. Not a criticism. Please do not misunderstand. Most people are raised, I was, with the employee mentality. Anybody whose parents survived the Great Depression was going to be taught that your employer is the most important person in your life. And you better do everything you can to keep your employer happy, including volunteering to do work that you don't get paid for, whatever it takes to keep your employer happy. Because getting fired in the Great Depression was the worst economic thing that could happen to anybody. Well, that's no longer applicable today. But it was, for my parents who grew up in it. So that's how, in a couple of ways, my brother and I were raised. But the employee mentality is that which most people have. And therefore there are automatic limits to what anybody thinks they can earn based on what kind of job they're going to have and what the pay scale or pay level is in that job. And then it's up to, okay, you chose it, you like it, you do it for that reason. If you love what you do, it isn't work. And as long as you're paid enough to have your decent living, fine, everything's fine. What people would love to do is to be paid exorbitant amount of money for their hobby. Well, a lot of people have pulled that off. It's just a matter of how you want to go about it. But your bottom line is you're worth what somebody will pay you. So in that sense, nobody is overpaid because somebody is agreeing to pay whoever is making whatever you think it is exorbitant amount of money. I can take a quick timeout. We will be back. Don't go away.
The center of the radio universe. Rush on the EIB network.
Say, folks, the IRS does not mess around. You know this. They have the power to take everything. Your bank accounts, your paycheck, even your home and business. If you owe back taxes, it's about to get worse. The IRS has added a small army of private tax collectors, and their job is to find you, to track you down. You need to call Optima Tax Relief. They're the good guys who do this best. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative. That's a special IRS program that could save you thousands, even tens of thousands, if you qualify. One call can start the process to stop the demand letters, stop the aggressive collection actions. Optima has resolved over $500 million in tax debt for their clients. They are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. Call for your free consultation now. It's free. Call while you have options. 800-973-7700. 800-973-7700. 800-973-7700.
It's the saggy jawline, folks. It's this jawline and the double chin that give your age away, but not anymore. Introducing the brand new Genucel jawline treatment with dual peptide and MDL technology, Chamonix's most advanced technology ever. It not only tightens saggy jawlines, but it plumps the lipophilic layers of your skin to contour and define the jawline within minutes. Using peptides and metolactones together for the first time, it works amazingly quick, and the results get better every day. No one else has this technology or our proprietary chemical-free base, so say goodbye to that double chin now. And from now until Thanksgiving, it's yours free when you order Genucel for under eye bags and puffiness. And for results in 12 hours, Genucel's immediate effects is also free. Call 800-822-5941 or go to Genucel.com. Imagine that double chin disappearing in about a week with Genucel's jawline treatment. 100% guaranteed or your money back. Don't wait. Call or click now. 800-822-5941 or Genucel.com. Genucel.com. That's Genucel.com.
Hey guys and girls, don't mind me as I interrupt your radio program. It's Sharon Trobner, neurobrain mapping expert. Do me a favor and don't touch that dial. That's a mistake. If you've been listening to this station, you've probably heard of Limitless, the potent, all-natural brain booster pill. As a brain mapping expert, people constantly ask me if Limitless really works to improve memory and concentration, or is it just another scam? Good news, I can tell you that Limitless really works and is an amazing breakthrough supplement that can make you feel unstoppable. I recommend Limitless to anyone looking for a competitive advantage at the office, school, or play. Just take it, and within 30 minutes, you'll notice a huge boost in memory and an extreme focus that's almost not fair. So call Limitless now and find out how to get a free bottle.
To find out how to get your free bottle of Limitless, call 800-605-4757. That's 800-605-4757. Get your free bottle for a limited time. Call now, 800-605-4757, 800-605-4757.
Thrifty White Community Health Corner, your source for reliable health information for you or someone you care about. Flu shots are available at your local Thrifty White pharmacy. No appointments necessary. Walk-ins are always welcome. The best protection against the flu is an annual flu shot. Stop the spread of the flu and protect yourself, your family, and your coworkers. Avoid the flu. Stop into your local Thrifty White pharmacy and get your flu shot today.
Every child deserves to live in a violence-free home. If our children are going to grow and thrive and learn healthy relationship skills, it is up to us as parents. Stop domestic violence, stop bullying, stop using words or hands as weapons. The chance to thrive is not a given in violent homes. Get involved. Pay attention to your words. Do not set an example of hatred or abuse in your homes. This message has been brought to you by the Domestic Sexual Assault Outreach Center in Fort Dodge. To make a donation, call 515-955-2273.
Credit card fraud happens in any number of ways these days. It's not always online. Sometimes as simple as you making a swiping gesture of your credit card in one of those card readers at a retail location. Sometimes that's all it takes. Or paying for a meal at a restaurant. You give your credit card to one of the wait staff, and they take it away to ring it up. They bring it back to you. But you don't see that the waiter might have handed it off to a Confederate who's scanning your card, then gets the card back, takes it, and rings you out. Your card is in the hands of somebody trying to find out who you are and use it, and you never see that happen. Well, you don't want to live your life paranoid. You don't want to live every time you use your card that you worry somebody's going to be able to steal the data from it. You don't want to worry your identity is at risk every time you use it. It's why we recommend that you get LifeLock, the single best identity theft protection there is. However you make the majority of your purchases, LifeLock has sophisticated computer systems that look out for your identity, and whether it's suddenly being used by thieves, they have ways to tell. When they think they've spotted it, they get hold of you and ask you what you're doing at that moment. Did you make this big expenditure? Did you open this new account somewhere? And if you answer yes, everything's fine. If you say, no, I'm not doing that, well, somebody is, and they track it down, and that's when the fun begins. New LifeLock plans include Norton security software that helps you protect all your devices from malware, ransomware. This is hardware protection for your laptop or your desktop computer. Now, look, no one company can prevent all identity theft, but I'm telling you, folks, there's nobody in LifeLock's league. There's nobody comes even close to doing what they do. Sign up today. LifeLock.com. The best thing that'll happen is you'll never hear from them. I mean, they'll give you alerts now and then. They'll just to keep let you know that they're working for you. But the best thing is you never hear from them. LifeLock.com or call 800-440-4833. Use my name when you sign up, and that'll get you 10% off and a $25 Amazon gift card. LifeLock. I know you've heard me talk about this now for a long time. If you haven't pulled the trigger, there's no better time, because cyber fraud, identity theft, it's increasing all the time. And this is the best protection you could get against it. LifeLock.com or 800-440-4833. Here's Anna. She's 11 years old in Spokane, Washington. Hi, Anna.
Hi, Rush.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am fabulous. I'm glad you called.
I just wanted to say how much I really love your books. Me and my sister and brother, we have read your books each twice, and so I really got to know them. And I was just wondering who drew you those pictures, because I'm a very visual person, and the pictures help me understand what's going on in the book.
Well, you are so sweet. This is a compliment we rarely hear. I mean, a lot of people tell us they like the books, but the graphics, we spend a lot of time on those, and we actually write the books around the graphics. We see a graphic or we create one that we want to use, and we'll write the book around it. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, Anna. The best way to answer this, if your mom or dad would let us, I'd like to put together a Rush Revere package of goodies from Revere and Liberty and send to you, and it'll have some of the graphics and some of the answers that you're seeking in the package that we've put together for a lot of people that like the books. And you have them all? Do you have them all?
Yes, I do have them all.
You've read them all? Okay.
Yes, I have.
Okay. Well, we'll throw some goodies in there. And I'll throw in the CDs of me reading every book so that if you get tired of reading them, you can listen to me read them to you. But hang on, Anna, and we'll get your address. We can send you this little goodie package from Liberty and Rush Revere and the people there. They would love to send it to you. And it'll be a Liberty doll or two in there and some other things too. So please don't hang up so we can get that address. I got to take a break now, though, and be right back.
Simply brilliant on the EIB network.
We pledge allegiance to our flag, but millions of illegal immigrants living in the United States and the hundreds of thousands more that flood across our border each year never made that pledge because of broken immigration laws. Now, conservative Congressman Kevin McCarthy is taking a stand.
Build the wall, enforce the law. What this is about is safe communities, our children, protecting them from fentanyl, protecting them from gang members. Our communities will not be safe if you can't secure your own borders.
Kevin McCarthy's Build the Wall and Enforce the Law Act fully funds President Trump's border wall, expands Kate's Law to penalize criminal illegal immigrants, and cracks down on sanctuary cities. That's the tough conservative solution America needs. Visit timeforthewall.com and tell Congress to pass Kevin McCarthy's Build the Wall and Enforce the Law Act now. Paid for by State Tea Party Express.
The General Store has been transformed into a Christmas wonderland. From Christmas decor to stockings to hang with care. From Christmas trees to lawn ornaments. From wreaths to Christmas sweaters. The General Store has your holidays covered and looking better than ever. The whole store is packed full of Christmas items. And the best part? Everything at the General Store is always tax-free, and all proceeds go toward helping people in our community. The General Store, making spirits bright at 12 North 25th, Fort Dodge.
Tough as nails, nerves of steel. If you've come to test our metal, you better tighten up your chin strap. Get amped up for all the gridiron action on the Panther Sports Network.
University of Northern Iowa Sports are brought to you on the Voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400 KVFD, by Mitch Lund State Farm, Party Productions, The Other Store, and New Age Media. Catch UNI Sports right here on the Voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400 KVFD.
When I have an asthma attack, I feel scared. It's like tiny nails in the air poke my lungs. I start to cough. Sometimes my parents have to take me to the hospital.
Today, 1 out of 13 children suffer from some form of asthma, accounting for nearly 1/3 of all emergency room visits.
I feel like I'm choking. It's kind of like an elephant is on my chest. A little whistle sound comes out when I breathe.
But while your child may suffer from asthma, asthma doesn't have to make your child suffer. There are simple ways you can prevent your child's next attack. To learn more, call 1-866-NO-ATTACKS. That's 1-866-662-8822. Log on to www.noattacks.org or call your doctor, because even one attack is one too many.
I feel like a fish with no water.
Brought to you by the EPA, the Ad Council, and this station.
New Jersey spends $18,000 a student. New York spends $21,000 per student. And the teachers are not getting the lion's share of that. And that is unfortunate. Hey, folks, thanks so much for being with us today. We'll get back to the recount stuff. And I needed a break from all that today. We'll get back to all that tomorrow. See you then.
I'm Dr. Linda Van Eldik, a biomedical scientist supported by the American Health Assistance Foundation. I conduct research aimed at discovering new and effective treatments for Alzheimer's disease. This is critical because more than 1,000 Americans develop Alzheimer's every day. At our website, you can learn how to live with or care for someone with the disease. Call 1-800-437-2423 or go to ahaf.org for a free brochure on understanding Alzheimer's disease.
Having to deal with the emotional trauma of a mastectomy is life-changing. No matter how understanding or large your support system may be, you still feel like no one gets it. Meet women who get it at Breast Friends, a support group to help you bond with women who are taking the same journey as you. Please join us November 25th at 7 p.m. at Perkins in Fort Dodge. For any questions, please contact Alicia Codwell at butterflywingsong@yahoo.com or visit our Facebook page, Breast Friends.
For exciting Panther sports, keep it right here on your home for University of Northern Iowa sports in North Central Iowa. The voice of Fort Dodge, KVFD, Fort Dodge.
A new wrinkle in the Florida recount. Lisa Brady, Fox News. And this one could ultimately get prosecutors involved. Fox's Eben Brown is live at the Broward County Elections Office.
And Lisa, 4 Florida counties now say voters using mail-in ballots got affidavits with the wrong return date on them. The form is a statewide form, and it said ballots should be received by 5 p.m. Monday before Election Day, but some got forms saying 5 p.m. on Thursday after. Florida's Secretary of State says this is an illegal alteration. It would have caused late and therefore discounted ballots. The questionable forms were found in Santa Rosa and Okaloosa counties in the Panhandle, Citrus County, north of Tampa, and here in Broward. Lisa?
Thanks, Eben. No drama, not yet anyway, as Congress picks its leaders. Fox's Jared Halpern, live on Capitol Hill.
House Republicans have elected Kevin McCarthy to lead their conference as minority leader next Congress. McCarthy, currently the number 2 House Republican, defeated Ohio Republican Jim Jordan 159-43. There won't be any change at the top in the Senate. Both Republican leader Mitch McConnell and Democratic leader Chuck Schumer won closed-door party elections without opposition. If there is to be drama, it could come from House Democrats, though Nancy Pelosi says she's confident she will have the votes when Democrats vote after Thanksgiving. Lisa.
Thanks, Jared. More than 100 people still listed as missing in the Northern California wildfire, now blamed for at least 48 deaths around Paradise, where more than 7,000 homes were lost.
The shock of it all still setting in for more than 50,000 people who remain evacuated. With most shelters filled to capacity, many have turned the parking lot at a nearby Walmart into a tent city of sorts. Survivors leaning on each other to find strength and hope.
Fox's Claudia Cowan. Better weather helping crews to boost containment there and around Malibu. An hour to the close, the Dow's down about 100 points. This is Fox News.
Pros in the know start with Lowe's, because at Lowe's, Pro Black Friday deals are already going strong with big savings on trusted brands. Finish the job at any height with a Werner 22-foot reach aluminum ladder, now $119. That's a savings of $90. Plus, save time by ordering ahead online, and your order will be ready for pickup in-store. Stop by the Pro Desk or visit Lowe'sForPros.com for details. So, Pro, now that you know, start with Lowe's. Offer valid while supplies last. See store for details. U.S. only.
And now, the worst commercial ever.
Hi, I am Justin Galvin, retired athlete from your local ball team, so I know a thing or two about insuring a landscaping business. I trust the pros, commercial auto and business insurance through Progressive. Get customized insurance solutions that'll hit a grand slam home run for you. Are we done?
A totally mailed-in celebrity endorsement. Awful. Whereas commercial auto and business insurance through Progressive is anything but. Visit ProgressiveCommercial.com to quote today. Insurance provided in service by Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. It's affiliated in third-party insurers.
Justice Department releasing a 20-page legal opinion that says it was constitutional for President Trump to appoint Matthew Whitaker as acting attorney general. Fox's John Roberts at the White House.
There were 2 tracks that the president could have taken. He could have gone through the confirmed line of succession at the Department of Justice to appoint a replacement for Jeff Sessions, even in the interim, or he could have used the Federal Vacancies Reform Act. The Department of Justice also states that while appointing a, quote, principal officer to a position does require Senate confirmation, appointing someone to that position in the interim does not.
The opinion also says the act can be used instead of an agency's succession plan. Democrats say Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein should have been promoted instead, and that Whitaker should recuse himself from the Russia probe, which he now oversees. A Brexit breakthrough. British Prime Minister Theresa May announcing she does have her cabinet's backing for a draft divorce deal with the European Union. The draft proposal, though, has a long way to go after today's marathon meeting. Critics say it does not represent a full break from the EU. Monday Night Football won't be in Mexico City next week after all. The NFL relocating the game to LA.
The best matchup this season, a Super Bowl preview perhaps, 9-1 Rams versus the 9-1 Chiefs, will not be played at Stadio Azteca in Mexico City because of great concern for player safety. The field in terrible condition because of heavy rains and a heavy concert and event schedule there. The NFL says it's unsuitable for play. So the game will be at the Rams' home at the LA Coliseum.
Fox's Jared Max, the Rams offering thousands of complimentary tickets to first responders and those affected by recent tragedies in the LA region, including wildfires and the deadly bar shooting. Again, an hour to the close on Wall Street, a sell-off. The Dow's down more than 90 points. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
Good afternoon. I'm Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Iowa Central Community College is looking into switching towards a flat tuition rate for students to replace the current system of tuition based on number of credits students take. Iowa Central President Dan Kinney says the proposal would decrease the students' tuition cost by over $1,000.
This will allow students to take 15 or 18 hours and still have the affordability and complete their degree in a timely manner. This will make it, I think, more affordable for students. It'll make us, I think, as an institution more competitive in the state. This isn't a new model. This is a new model of community colleges.
Iowa Central would be the first community college in Iowa to offer flat tuition and only the second community college in the entire country to offer the program. And Kinney says students would also receive a Surface Go device for the school year to aid in their education. The project, though, is still in the planning stages.
We hope in our December board meeting, we'll have the complete package. We don't have the figures right now, but then we'll have the complete package put together and that we can take and we'll present to the board in our December board meeting. We are hoping this thing will be up and going in 2019.
Webster County is looking for a new emergency management coordinator after Scott Forbes resigned last month. Forbes was rehired to help emergency management part-time until a new coordinator is hired. But at yesterday's Board of Supervisors meeting, it was announced that Forbes will no longer serve on the Emergency Management Commission. Webster County Supervisor Merrill Leffler explained who would take over for Forbes until a replacement is hired.
Between the sheriff and Mr. Memrick and probably myself will fulfill those duties.
To apply for the position of Webster County Emergency Management Coordinator, please go to agency.governmentjobs.com/Webster County IA. Olson Park at 12th Avenue South and 17th Street in Fort Dodge is planning to undergo some upgrades next year, according to City Manager David Fierk on the Divine Intervention Show.
Next year we have I think we're planning on about $950,000 for Olson Park. So we have a rather large project planned for 2019.
Fierk explained what types of changes to the park Fort Dodge residents can expect.
We wanted to finish out what we're going to do with the old lake and pond and play features. We're going to redo the access to the parking lot and things like that. Plan on converting the little road that's inside there into a bike trail.
Sure.
And then making the parking lot access directly off Olson Park Avenue.
The project will first have to be approved by the Fort Dodge City Council at a future City Council meeting. Unity Point Health closed its orthopedic clinic in Fort Dodge last week on Wednesday, and the closure puts into question the future of athletic training services in the Fort Dodge Community School District. FDCSD Superintendent Jesse Ulrich addressed these concerns at Monday's school board meeting.
Not having an athletic trainer is not an option. So we will have an athletic trainer. It's a matter of legally, contractually, how those services are provided in the district. So we are going to continue to gather information and engage with Unity Point to hopefully benefit our students.
Fort Dodge Senior High School currently has Unity Point Health employee Bree Dries in the position of athletic trainer. Ulrich says he hopes to maintain the relationship with Unity Point Health in the future.
Long term, it makes sense to be able to partner with Unity Point and be able to provide athletic training services for our students. As far as the district goes, our number one priority is student safety for those students engaged in our extracurricular activities.
This has been Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Have a great day.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. Bright sunshine this afternoon with highs around 44. South winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. Clear skies and quiet again. Tonight, lows level off around 24. Highs around 45. Tomorrow, mainly clear. Cloudy skies expected Friday with highs in the low 40s. Chance for snow Saturday. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 44.
The opinions and remarks expressed on this radio program by the host, guests, and call-in listeners are the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not reflect the views of management or ownership of KVFD AM 1400.
Current price times 1,000 acres, carry the one. These days, it's hard to make the math work for your soybean fields. The BASF Liberty Link system with Liberty herbicide makes it easier. Start with a 2+ bushel per acre yield advantage. Add in lower system input costs and more complete weed control, and you get an extra $33 or more profit potential per acre compared to Asgrow Roundup Ready to Extend soybeans. Grow smart with Liberty Link and BASF. Always read and follow label directions.
At Budget Blinds, caring is in our DNA. It's the way we do business every day. It starts with exceptional customer service, a process that is centered around you. We listen to you, take the time to find out about your needs, then guide you through a beautiful selection of custom window coverings to find the very best options for you. Our commitment to caring continues throughout our local neighborhoods. We care for our homes and our communities. Budget Blinds supports so many different causes all across North America. We're your local neighborhood experts. We live and work right next to you, and we do it all for you. If that's the kind of personal service you've been waiting for, call and see for yourself. 855-BUDGET BLINDS. 855-BUDGET BLINDS. Or find us online at budgetblinds.com. While you're there, find out more about the Budget Blinds commitment to giving back at #BudgetBlindsCares. Each franchise independently owned and operated. Ask for details.
Michael Devine, the mayor of Manville.
It's a fancy title for a part-time job.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
Miss Torvald didn't seem too happy about being dumped.
Well, you think she carried a grudge for a year?
Or his wife did.
If she knew about his definition of employee relations.
Don't wives always know?
Mine did.
Yours didn't hire a hitman.
Not yet.
Michael Devine. A lot of people like that show. But because you need more than a newspaper.
Email, online, surfing the web, HTML, good buddy.
At AM 1400 KVFD.
Well, there you go. AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. I'm Michael Devine. And yes, we actually have cable service, not cable service, but internet service today from Mediacom. Thank you. Thank you, Mediacom. We didn't have much internet service yesterday, but we're back on the air today with internet, and that means that you can watch this program as well as hear it by going to youtube.com. That's youtube.com. Then go to 1400 KVFD, and you'll see some old guy wearing suspenders for the very first time in his life. I never wanted to be this older guy with a gut who wears a cap to cover up his baldness and wears suspenders, but that's what's happened. And I'm wearing an anarchist T-shirt, so the whole picture is perfect. I am now officially a Trump guy. Suspenders, anarchist T-shirt, big gut. Yes, it's all here for you, Dr. Menke. Oh, I better turn your microphone on if I'm going to talk to you.
You got the wrong hat on, though. It should be red and say M-A-G-A.
I can't go there.
Big Ed.
Big Ed from Georgia.
I can probably bring you one.
Oh, God. We got to get a picture of me in my suspenders and you alongside of me looking so urbane and sophisticated.
Yeah. Well, I actually...
I don't know. I've been to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. That's a pretty big city for Fort Dodge.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I ran into Big Ed last time he was in town out at Wally World about 7 o'clock in the morning. I didn't even know who he was, but I recognized the hat.
You recognized the hat?
Yeah. I knew who he was.
Did you?
Yep.
Did you recognize the voice?
Oh, yeah.
Big Ed from Georgia. Yeah. I'm glad you're sitting here fighting off those communist liberals and socialists.
Yeah.
That's my job.
I did listen to you yesterday when you had our city manager on, and you referred to councilmen as morons.
Morons, yes.
Yeah, several times you did that.
Well, I
wonder why none of them show up to your program.
Well, aren't you a councilman?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Yeah, but you said some of the councilmen, so I naturally assumed you weren't talking about me.
No, I specifically excluded you from the moron designation, didn't I?
No, you didn't.
Oh,
no,
okay.
no. But
well, let's see. Flattery's going to be in later.
Yeah,
Dave's not a moron.
Yeah, well,
we're getting it narrowed
we're
down.
Narrowing it down. I feel sorry for the other 5.
No.
Well, anyway, I drove out by Hy-Vee this morning bright and early, and there were people actually bending over and looking at the lights. So I don't know if they're going to roll in there this week or not. They were supposed to be, the metal was kind of delayed for some reason or other.
Wait a minute.
The lights
people
out
are
by
bending over.
Yeah,
where are you going with that?
Working on the electrical out there. They're looking at the light poles.
But you noticed the bend over part.
Well, they were bent over. It was 7 o'clock in the morning.
Did they call you bend over Bob in high school or something?
No, yeah. The whole direction is just taking
they're really taking a bend.
Really
well, you tried to bait me. No, you called us morons.
Well, you did call us morons.
Not all of you.
No, but you did initially. Then you said,
I did not. I said some of the council people are morons.
Yeah, some of the council.
Let's look back in time at all the city councils before. Okay. Can you pick out the morons? Because I can. I mean,
I like to think that everybody has their good points, and so that's what I kind of strive on.
Because you're St. Terry of Minky.
That's right. I try not to make anybody upset with me.
I've known you since you've been in town, and I just in this image of yourself that you're trying to sell is just flat out false. I accept you and like you as you are.
40 years I've been in town, and I don't think I've deviated too much from my path.
No.
So anyway, moving on.
Let him get somebody and Sir tell me he doesn't.
Moving on,
let him get somebody and Sir tell me he thinks should be expelled. And
with your suspenders, I'm thinking probably you should be interested in this. Santa's coming to town on Monday, the November 26th.
Santa.
Yep. Holiday on Central, 5:30 to 7 o'clock at the library.
Your world has changed when people start asking you to be Santa. That started about 20 years ago for me. Mike, you'll be Santa, won't you? Oh, sure, why not?
You got the beard.
I got the beard.
You got the suspenders.
Got the gut. I got the suspenders. I'm ready to rock.
Boots and a sleigh.
You had a gigantic gut years ago, and you lost it. What? Yeah, it was big, Terry.
It was
big. You were swollen in the middle.
Yeah, I had some lifestyle changes.
Well, you started taking drugs, right?
No, actually, the last time I lost weight, they really never did figure out what was wrong with me. I think it's because I'm a moron. But anyway, the signal lights are not.
That could be. Let me look into that. I'll Google.
But anyway, the signal lights are, hopefully they'll be up very quickly. Again, they're working on them today. I haven't been out there in the last couple hours, but hopefully before it gets too busy out there in that intersection, we're going to have turn signals. So just to make
fascinating. I'm glad.
Wish Jill Nelson congratulations.
Congratulations to Jill. Wonderful.
She had her baby.
Yes, she did. A beautiful
Violet
girl.
Caroline.
Beautiful girl. What a great name, too.
Yeah, it is Violet. Yeah, that's good.
Violet.
Yep. And I don't know what's going to happen now. She's going to be gone for a few weeks, and I don't know what's going to happen at the Growth Alliance. She was kind of the key component of a lot of our city county meetings. She was wait a second. She was not. No, she was there, but
she was not a component.
Well, she was there, but Kelly.
You have this odd way of throwing out a compliment and then reeling it back in.
Yeah, Jill's a nice lady. I like her.
Here's Minky speaking. She's a very nice lady over the Growth Alliance. Her job is waking up Plouts from his nap.
Yeah. That could be a full-time job.
That could be a full-time job.
Could be a full-time.
If Denny accidentally falls into a coma every 3 or 4 times a day, Jill gets to go in and wake him up. That's her job. That's her prime job.
Yeah. So anyway, we've insulted just about everybody in the community.
Well, that's kind of the way. I'm just giving an example of Terry paying a compliment. Oh, Jill's great. Her job over the Growth Alliance is waking up Plouts. Hey, that's great.
We did not have a city council meeting this week.
What was the problem?
We didn't.
Morons!
We had one last Monday? We had one, yeah.
Last Monday.
But now we won't have one again until the 26th because
find your way to the council room, I suppose.
It's a big room. The lights are on.
I know.
So anyway, we will have a council meeting. It's my understanding we're going to be doing some look at the capital improvement plan on the next meeting or the one after that. We're looking at what we need to do in the community. These things are pretty helpful with budget time, looking at what money's available, what projects we think are important. Obviously, the streets keep coming up. David talked a little bit about the GO bond and some of the things that are on there. Last year, we had a GO bond.
He did talk about GO bond.
Yeah, a little bit. GO bond, general obligation bonds. Basically,
Derek is he's pretty smart. He's very, very sharp.
Yeah.
He kind of stands in contrast, to the council.
Yeah, I'd normally like to talk to him when he's sitting down because he towers over me.
He does.
Yeah.
I asked him a couple of weeks ago if he ever rolls up on Dean Hill and looks down and says, "Remember when you tried to fire me, Dean?" Yeah, no, he, Ploutz is, or not Ploutz, but Furyk is gracious at all times. Gracious at all times.
Well, that's good. But anyway,
Dean's not very tall. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're looking at different projects, different things that are coming up, and the streets, of course, are always important, and we have been addressing those. Last year, I think the year before last, we haven't got the numbers yet this year, but we actually spent $8.5 million on street repairs, which is a lot more than we normally did. Last year, the GEO bond, we had them put in another $1 million for street repairs, which is, I think, the first time we've ever had a GEO bond that actually directly looked at street maintenance and upkeep. This year, made the request again to include more money for streets, and we're looking at it. Hopefully it will stay in the GEO bond. Like I said, it's kind of a fluid thing right now, but we're looking at putting another $1 million just designated towards street repair. And I know everybody's got their favorite streets that needs to be done, and I'm sure yours is done. So we shouldn't. We shouldn't hear you complain for a while.
Well, they only did the curb on one side of the street. I don't really get that.
Ran out of money.
Yeah. Okay. In the middle of the street.
Middle of the street. Yeah, you're lucky you got.
No,
asphalt.
my street is. I can't really complain about.
Yeah,
the street.
well, they're still working.
I live on the south side of the street, and that's the side that got to the curb. So screw those north side of the street people.
North side guys. Yeah, but anyway,
I just thought it was morons. Oh, you mean we got to put curbs on both sides of the street?
Asphalt is continuing to work. They will continue to work. I think through Thanksgiving, they're planning on working.
They're going to work Thanksgiving Day.
Well, probably not Thanksgiving Day. I don't think Mr. Moore would do
pretty harsh.
that. Yeah, that would be harsh. But anyway, there's several streets that have kind of fallen apart. As you know, Williams Drive coming down the hill by the park down there fell apart. We tried to get that fixed last year, and bids came in way too high, so that will probably be a spring project. We've got North 22nd up in front of St. Edmunds is in really bad shape, and I'm hoping that that's going to be looked at pretty quick next year, hopefully during the off time so that we don't mess up the schools too much. But from 2nd North all the way up to 10th Avenue North, that road is in pretty bad shape. And with the new church going in up there, there's going to be a lot more traffic. And so I think that's going to be probably one of our to-do roads next year.
To-do, huh?
To-do. And 2nd Avenue North, we fixed that 2-3 years ago. We did part of it in asphalt, part of it in concrete. Stopped at 22nd. You continue to the east over there towards the railroad track that's fallen apart over there too. So
are you just going to do one side of that?
Yeah,
or
we're just going to, we'll probably do just the north side. No, we'll probably do both sides. So we've got a lot of roads and a lot of construction that we're looking at. And again, the money is always a concern. The lost revenue is dipping just a little bit. And I think that might have something to do with the fact that our retail is evaporating.
A little weak, yeah.
A little weak. I don't know what's going to happen. I have no information on the mall. I know that they've been in contact with the mall owners and with the Blessing brothers that own the Sears property, and we're trying to work out something that, retail is struggling a little bit. But again, I think
Is that what you call losing some major stores in just a short period of time?
I think
our old May Garden Center closed in Fort Dodge
after 40 some odd years.
Man, that's a bummer.
Yeah, I don't quite understand that, but
Walmart.
Yeah, well, I'm sure Walmart has its effect. I mean, Smitty's has done real well over the last few years, and I think that's a major competitor of theirs. And so I'm sure that probably hurt their bottom line a little bit. But, we've got a lot of new things opening. The Quick Stars, the one out by the college, is looking good. I think they'll probably be open in another month or so. The one that they opened on Fifth South is doing real well. We've got Arby's on Fifth South. That's, very, very close to being open. I saw the furniture and stuff was in there the other day. So, I mean, there's a lot of new stuff, but again, we hate to lose our old businesses. So we hope that this is going to be a strong season for the economy, and we hope that you shop local. We've got a lot of businesses downtown that, are newer. And I think there's a lot of opportunity in the downtown area for people to do some of their Christmas shopping. So you don't have to go to the big malls when you can come downtown and hit some of our local merchants. And we encourage you to do
What
that.
sort of merchants do we have downtown? I was just at Daniel Pharmacy about
Well, Mary Kay's got a very nice place.
She does. I bought a lot of things from Mary Kay, and
Mary
probably
Kay's
will
nice
continue
lady.
to.
Yep.
Very nice.
Yep. You got all the way down. I don't know. I mean, Chris Patrick from Main Street could probably come on and tell you. She told me one time there's like 193 different businesses downtown, and
I'm sure there are. There's lawyers downtown. There's a lot of lawyers down there. Nevin Mulholland's downtown.
He is. Oh.
No, they won't let him be anywhere else.
Yeah, they won't. But anyway, there's a lot of shops, a lot of opportunities, and again, there's a lot of potential, and we encourage you to shop local and spend your money locally. There's a lot of them up on 25th Street out by the mall too.
Don't forget to patronize your local optometrist.
Yeah.
He's out by the fire station. Feel free to go there anytime.
Yeah, that road's going to be dug up. That'll be an interesting year for me and everybody else.
God,
in that
you've
area.
been talking about your money for years and years and years.
Lack thereof.
No, the lack thereof.
Yeah. So anyway, we are working on the hydroelectric dam and the little dam. The bids are supposed to be in on the 29th of November. It's going to be considered by the council on December 10th. The bid estimate on the hydroelectric dam is $1.9 million, and it's supposed to be done by December 31st of next year. And the little dam, they're estimating just under $500,000 to tear that out. We've got some meetings coming up. It's going to talk about the bids and what we can expect. I'm a little bit concerned, I guess, if you want to call it that, what's going to happen with the surrounding area, if we're just going to tear stuff out, if we're actually going to do some work down there by the hydroelectric dam for parking and make it a little bit more accessible. The continual work on the stream bank and the stream bank tax credits, if they're not really tax credits, but they're credits that we can sell, are going to be beneficial for the community over the next few years. And I think there's a lot of opportunity for us in the hydroelectric area to improve the access for the fishermen and the boaters, kayakers, and everybody else. So the fishing, according to the DNR, is supposed to improve. I know a lot of people go to the little dam. There's a couple holes down there that have been washed out from the water, but those holes will remain, but the fish are going to be able to basically swim all the way up to Humboldt now without any impediment. So from Sailor,
no impediment.
So that'll be great. So again, those estimates, bids will be coming in right after Thanksgiving. We are looking forward to that. I think this is something that is long overdue, that the dams have not been really, I guess, usable for some time. And they do, propose that they're going to take out both of them. And I don't know what order they're going to take them out. I don't know if it makes any difference. At one point, they were talking about taking the little dam out first because of the silt and whatever behind the hydroelectric dam. Apparently, according to DNR, the last I heard was that may not be an issue, that the silt won't build up and won't be a problem. But it'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to that. I think it'd be cool.
I was talking a while ago, it's probably been a year or two ago, with a rather large man from Ward 1 who vowed to fight, well, not to the death, but nearly, over the idea of removing the dams because it would
affect the water.
Affect the water, of course it will.
Yeah,
it'll turn the river into a stream.
I don't think so.
All right. Is that what are the experts saying? Let's cue the experts here.
They will not change. It may change the course of the river a little bit. I don't think in the last 2 years the water levels really dropped a great deal, and I think you get a pretty good idea now that the gates are out. The river is more or less free flowing right now. So the water should not deviate a whole lot. There's a lot of silt and a lot of backfill behind the dam. So actually it'll be interesting to see what the course of the river does. But I think the water level is going to be more dependent on snow melt and rain than it is on what we do at the dam. So I think it's, again, the fishing and the recreational opportunities and basically eliminating the hazard. That Lowhead Dam, the little dam, they actually had one fatality down there in the last, 30, 40 years. Somebody went over there, but it's not very safe. I always cringe when I see people standing on the side of the banks down there. And I think getting the river rebuilt and the bank stabilized and providing access to the fishing will be a lot safer. And I think the water will be fine. Again, that's according to the DNR people. I'm not a hydrologist or whatever they call them.
Hydrologist.
Yeah. The nice thing about it, though, is it will probably change the floodplain. And if we relook at the floodplains, there's a possibility we may be able to do some building down there, like in the Casino Park area, that right now may be restricted because of the floodplain designation. I know the county is looking at get a nature center down somewhere in the Central River District, and those plans are being formalized. I know Carissa and Chad, I'm sure Tony Trotter's been involved in that too to some degree, but they are looking at potential development down in there in that area. And again, anything we can do on the riverfront, it's always been, I guess, kind of a sore spot for me is that you look at a lot of these towns that have got rivers running through them, they capitalize on them, they utilize the riverfront. It's actually an economic draw for people in the region. It's a very good recreational aspect, and I think you can get retail down there and maybe a microbrewery or two, because people that go down there and kayak and canoe, tend to have a tendency to celebrate after they get done. But I think the potential for development down there will improve dramatically once those dams are out of there and the river becomes more stable. So I don't think the water is going to disappear.
And the water will not disappear. That's your personal guarantee.
We're still going to have water, no matter what we do. I mean, there will be dry spots, but again, the last couple of years, I don't think the water's gone down very much. If anything, it's worse now than what it has been.
Good point.
Yeah, good point. So we are working, continue to work on the north concession stand that we did give out at Harlan Rogers. That was torn down or will be torn down very quickly, and then they're going to rebuild the concession stand. I believe that's one of the last original buildings out there. It's probably 40, 50 years old and was not serving its purpose, so they decided they were going to upgrade that. The initial bids came in a little bit high, so they went back and redesigned the building, and it's going to be, I think, a little bit, maybe a little smaller and a little bit different materials, but it's going to be a nice new building. And we just don't really appreciate Harlan Rogers. I think again, you talk about economic impact. The girls' state tournament is over $1 million in economic development just during that week that they're here. But I actually had a lady yesterday that told me that her friend was here for the cross country meet. When was that, 2 weeks ago? Out at the golf course out at Lakeside, and they couldn't find a hotel room. She said that Fort Dodge is really lacking in hotel rooms, and I said, well, we do have one more hotel. They did the groundbreaking for the one out by Fort Frenzy, and I think that's a Brookstone. What is that? I don't remember. I don't remember what it is. And then, we still have the Hampton Inn on 5th Avenue South out in front of Holiday Inn. I have no idea when and if that will ever get done. Gentleman was very anxious to get that going, and there was some concern over line of sight visibility of surrounding businesses. And so they went back to the drawing board, redrew the plans, kind of re-plopped the building a little bit differently on the land. He was going to get going right away. It sounded like he wanted to go that weekend when I was at the meeting. And here it is almost a year and a half later, and nothing's been done. So I don't know what the plans are, if they're just waiting for, I don't know, maybe they're waiting for somebody to tell them that they need it. So it could be interesting. So we've got one new one coming and one more kind of on the hopper.
Real quickly, we're going to have to go to a news break here, but I don't know if you've ever seen a 6'4" man tap dance in a radio station studio, but City Manager Furyk, when I asked him yesterday about Olsen Park, there was some tap dancing going on.
I know.
So can we discuss Olsen Park and see if we're ever going to get anything done there? Because
we could talk about it.
There was a lot of talk. I mean, you and I mainly.
Yeah, I was going to say, I may have to dance a little bit too, because
you're going to dance?
Not a lot, but
so we're going to see a 72-year-old man dancing in a radio station studio. That's terrific.
You got me off.
That's right. That's right.
I'm older. You're older than me.
All right. So 73-year-old. All right, here we go.
Michael Devine, the mayor of Manville.
It's a fancy title for a part-time job.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
During his trip, a topless female protester ran in front of Trump's motorcade. One Secret Service agent tackled her so she couldn't get to Trump, while another tackled Trump so he couldn't get to her.
If you don't listen to him, you suck.
He's sneaky, but he's right.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
Never thought you could equate, general suckage with not listening to a radio station. But I have broken the wall, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, if you don't listen to this program, you suck, obviously. 2:33, the news is next.
Here, great yield starts with great weed control. That's why I put the Roundup Ready Extend crop system to work, so I can get the yield I need. This is my field.
The Roundup Ready Extend crop system offers the unique combination of XtendiMax herbicide with Vapor Grip technology and Roundup Ready 2 Extend soybean Products, featuring tolerance to both dicamba and glyphosate for control of more weeds than any other soybean system, and a 5.7 bushel per acre advantage compared to Liberty Link soybeans in herbicide system trials. Now you have the system that puts control back in your hands. You have the system to extend your weed control and extend your yield. Learn how you can put the system to work in your field when you visit RoundupReadyXtend.com. XtendiMax is a restricted use pesticide. Performance may vary. Always read and follow grain marketing and all other stewardship practices and pesticide label directions. Check local regulations for specific requirements in your state.
As the nation's leader in pork production and pork exports, Iowa's pork producers are doing things right. It's their ethical and moral responsibility. Hog farmers keep their pigs safe and healthy, safeguard natural resources, protect public health, and build strong communities every day. Pork quality, responsible production, and continuous improvement are roles they take very seriously. Iowa's pork producers, producing safe, affordable food. Sponsored by Iowa's pork producers and their pork checkoff.
The Webster County pork producers remind you, when it comes to protecting their family's health, Iowa's pig farmers are some of the most concerned people around. Safe, affordable, delicious, and nutritious pork can be served for your dinner tonight. Roasted, grilled, stewed, sautéed, stir-fried, broiled, kebabbed, sauced, dipped, sandwiched in your new recipes and your old recipes. Why not buy some pork today and serve it up tonight? This message brought to you by the Webster County pork producers, striving to serve people, pigs, and the planet.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
Good afternoon. I'm Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Iowa Central Community College is looking into switching towards a flat tuition rate for students to replace the current system of tuition based on number of credits students take. Iowa Central President Dan Kinney says the proposal would decrease the students' tuition cost by over $1,000.
This will allow students to take 15 or 18 hours and still have the affordability and complete their degree in a timely manner. This will make it, I think, more affordable for students. It'll make us, I think, as an institution more competitive in the state. This isn't a new model. This is a new model of community colleges.
Iowa Central would be the first community college in Iowa to offer flat tuition, and only the second community college in the entire country to offer the program. And Kinney says students would also receive a Surface Go device for the school year to aid in their education. The project, though, is still in the planning stages.
We hope in our December board meeting, we'll have the complete package. We don't have the figures right now, but that we'll have the complete package put together and that we can take and we'll present to the board in our December board meeting. We are hoping this thing will be up and going in 2019.
Webster County is looking for a new emergency management coordinator after Scott Forbes resigned last month. Forbes was rehired to help emergency management part-time until a new coordinator is hired. But at yesterday's Board of Supervisors meeting, it was announced that Forbes will no longer serve on the Emergency Management Commission. Webster County Supervisor Merrill Leffler explained who would take over for Forbes until a replacement is hired.
Between the sheriff and Mr. Van Rank and probably myself will fulfill those duties.
To apply for the position of Webster County Emergency Management Coordinator, please go to agency.governmentjobs.com/Webster County IA. Olson Park at 12th Avenue South and 17th Street in Fort Dodge is planning to undergo some upgrades next year, according to City Manager David Fierk on the Divine Intervention Show.
Next year we have I think we're planning on about $950,000 for Olson Park. So we have a rather large project planned for 2019.
Fierk explained what types of changes to the park Fort Dodge residents can expect.
We wanted to finish out what we're going to do with the old lake and pond and play features. We're going to redo the access to the parking lot and things like that. Plan on converting the little road that's inside there into a bike trail.
Sure.
And then making the parking lot access directly off Olson Park Avenue.
The project will first have to be approved by the Fort Dodge City Council at a future City Council meeting. Unity Point Health closed its orthopedic clinic in Fort Dodge last week on Wednesday, and the closure puts into question the future of athletic training services in the Fort Dodge Community School District. FDCSD Superintendent Jesse Ulrich addressed these concerns at Monday's school board meeting.
Not having an athletic trainer is not an option. So we will have an athletic trainer. It's a matter of legally, contractually, how those services are provided in the district. So we are going to continue to gather information and engage with to hopefully benefit our students.
Fort Dodge Senior High School currently has Unity Point Health employee Bree Dries in the position of athletic trainer. Ulrich says he hopes to maintain the relationship with Unity Point Health in the future.
Long term, it makes sense to be able to partner with Unity Point and be able to provide athletic training services for our student As far as the district goes, our number one priority is student safety for those students engaged in our extracurricular activities.
This has been Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Have a great day.
This is AM 1400, KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge, 238 in the weather. Sunny with a high of 44 today. Overnight clear with a low of 24. Tomorrow, sunny with a high of 45. Friday, it'll be sunny with a high of 43. Saturday, a good chance of snow. How's that for suckage? Sunny other than the snow with a high of 28. Sunday, sunny with a high of 31. Monday, sunny with a high of 40. And Tuesday, sunny with a high of 43. Right now, we're at the day's high, 44 degrees under a mostly sunny sky. At AM 1400, KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. Obituaries this hour brought to us by Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services at 1615 North 15th Street, Fort Dodge. You may contact Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services by calling 515-576-7128 or online at www.gundersonfuneralhome.com. Kenny Preston Powell III has passed away. Services for Kenny Preston Powell III were this morning at 11 o'clock at the First Covenant Church with Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services serving the family. Obituaries this hour brought to us by Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services at 1650 North 15th Street, Fort Dodge. You may contact Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services by calling 515-576-7128 or online at www.gundersonfuneralhome.com. It's 44 degrees at 2:39 AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. With a look at the closing market report, here's Dwayne Murley.
Here's a look at how the markets closed today. December corn up a half a cent at $3.67. March up a quarter penny at $3.78. May corn unchanged at $3.85 3/4, and July down a penny at $3.92 1/4. November soybeans up 3 1/4 at $8.70 1/2. January up 5 1/4 at $8.83 1/2. March beans up a nickel at $8.96 3/4. May up 5 1/4 at $9.10 1/4. December wheat closed down 4 3/4 at $5.03. Soybean meal up $1.80 a ton at $3.0570. December live cattle down 77 cents at $114.60. February down 15 at $118.60. November feeder cattle unchanged at $148.97. January unchanged at $146.97. December lean hogs down 30 cents at $57, and February up 17 cents at $62.35. From the farm desk, I'm Dwayne Murley.
If you're frustrated with back pain and want a solution, then take an active role in your health with the help of Active Health Chiropractic. Active Health will have a low back camp Saturday, December 1st at 1 p.m. This workshop is only 75 minutes and will dive into why this pain is happening to you. You'll learn multiple ways to get rid of your pain, participate in 5 to 6 therapy techniques, and be provided with materials to do self-care at home. Don't miss the low back camp at Active Health Chiropractic, Fort Dodge.
I used to post to job boards that sent me tons of resumes.
Just to find a few people who were right for my job.
That old process was not smart.
Then I went to ZipRecruiter.
Its technology scans resumes for me to find the right people.
And actively invites them to apply. So I get qualified candidates fast. Smart.
See why ZipRecruiter is rated #1 by employers in the U.S. Try it now for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter. The smartest way to hire. Based on Trustpilot rating of hiring sites with over 1,000 reviews.
As a producer, you know that protecting your legacy means managing your risk and planning now for whatever's next. At RCIS, we provide additional crop insurance coverage options for revenue and price protection. We're one of the nation's leading crop insurance providers, and we're committed to innovation, exceptional customer service, and to helping you protect your legacy. See your crop insurance agent or visit rcis.com today. This entity is an equal opportunity provider.
The General Store has been transformed into a Christmas wonderland. From Christmas decor to stockings to hang with care. From Christmas trees to lawn ornaments. From wreaths to Christmas sweaters. The General Store has your holidays covered and looking better than ever. The whole store is packed full of Christmas items. And the best part? Everything at the General Store is always tax-free, and all proceeds go toward helping people in our community. The General Store, making spirits bright at 12 North 25th, Fort Dodge.
Divine Intervention at AM 1400 KVFD, where Fort Dodge talk.
We stand in solidarity with them in hunting down the perpetrators of this crime and bringing them to justice.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
Do you ever get tired of watching bad things happen to people?
Sticking up for you when no one else will.
Hear that? The Big O stands in solidarity with victims. That's almost as effective and meaningful as thoughts and prayers. But he looked so damn good saying it. I mean, liberals swooned all over the country. As a matter of fact, Menke, I had to pick him up off the floor just as he remembered President Barack Obama and how good he looked on television and how inspired he made us feel by his meaningless and empty platitudes. So, Menke, have you recovered from your memory of Barack Obama? Can you now
I'm sorry.
Speak to your fans.
You were talking to me.
I was talking to you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't.
Don't be a moron.
I wasn't paying attention.
Don't be thick.
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
No.
Of course, I have had my zipper done for 2 hours. That's a real bummer.
Funny you should mention that. That's an ongoing battle for me too.
Okay, I'll zip it up.
Thank you.
Older men, have you checked your own?
No, I
saw
not.
you check
no,
yourself.
No, I did not.
You checked
nope,
yourself.
I did not. Nope.
Oh God, maybe I got mine down.
No, I'm fine.
You know, older men forget those things. We have to be forgiven. I heard your brain shrink.
Okay, so you want to talk about what? You said something
about Olson Park.
Olson Park. Yeah, the plans obviously are not progressing as smoothly as what we'd like. There are plans, and that's unfortunate that that's all we have is plans. I was hoping to have some actual dirt being moved and some things being done this year. We did set aside some money last time. $360,000 was set aside. That money is still, a majority of it's still there. We've spent some on some design work, but they have surveyed the park and they're working on the pathways and working on the parking lot layouts and cutting curbs and things like that.
We're going to have to go to the phones at AM 1400 KVFD. Good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yeah, I hope you guys will reconsider getting rid of the road that goes through there. Leave that road in there.
Well, that's that plan was done as a result of the trail work that's being planned to connect the trail all the way around. Rather than build a trail, which I advocated to build it down behind, to utilize some of the forest and connect it down into the Pleasant Valley, and then onto the River Road. They determined that would be too steep, too expensive, and not what the people want, which I disagreed with. So the plan was made the Trail Advisory Committee actually made that plan to go through and then close that road off. It's going to create a little bit of a problem, I think, with when they have the band concerts there, the Carl King concerts with parking. It's going to create a little bit of an issue if we ever have any more events at the band shell. But again, that was the advice of the Trail Advisory Committee, and we really don't have much control over that. It's going to be shut down.
The Trail Advisory Committee overrules the city council?
Well, they actually use money that's given to them through the Vision Iowa grant and all that. And as part of that grant, they kind of act as an independent agency. So
who gave them that authority?
I don't know. Probably somebody in Des Moines. But, I've seen the plans. They're going to put bollards up on the Southway and put like a little roundabout area down there for drop off. And they're going to put parking on the road heading back towards the band shell and some parking back behind the band shell. And then they're changing the existing parking lot. They're going to be cutting access onto Olson Park Avenue. And then that roadway will more or less be blocked and just for pedestrians and bicycles with bollards. And then they'll go up and then they'll stay on the street and eventually go down Mason Drive, look into Pleasant Valley that way.
It's amazing the number of groups and courts that can overrule elected officials. No wonder people are cynical and angry about their government. It is totally unresponsive.
Yeah. Like I said, I thought it'd be fun to go down the hill, and
you think so?
The path is already there, and you could actually hook into, I think it's 15th Street over on the north end of the park relatively easily, but they walked that down there and they made the determination that it just wouldn't work. So,
go ahead, sir.
Yeah. If you're going to fix it, do it right. Don't do it wrong. Taking that road out is the wrong thing to do. The trail people, there's another way to run that trail.
Yeah, they looked at all of it. I mean, they've been working on this for years. So,
yeah, they're just looking for an easy way out. That road needs to stay.
Well, I don't disagree with you. Like I said, I thought there were other options, but I was just a small voice in the forest, so I didn't have much weight.
I thought you were a redwood.
That's what I thought,
Oh,
man.
that's right.
Oh, yeah. Minky walks into the room, and it gets quiet right now.
For the wrong reasons.
The big boys back in town.
No, we saw some of the plans again about a week and a half ago, shortly before I went on a trip for my profession. But I had an opportunity to talk with Lori, who is part of the Trail Advisory Commission, and Matt Cosgrove's on that, Randy Kuhlman's on that. I think Chad Schaefer from the city's on it also. And I expressed some of my concerns about some of the layout of the trails, and especially on the south end of the park down by the band shell. And they agreed to kind of back off on some of that. But I think the trail work as part of the interconnectability throughout the town, and the fact that they can loop it around, it's just the easy solution for right now. That doesn't mean it can't be revisited in the future, but the way it stands now, that road will be blocked, and probably be one of the first things will be blocked in the spring.
Did anybody run this by the people and get input from all the people, that the road will be gone?
Oh, hell
if
no.
the people agree?
No, I don't think that there was a survey put out. It was, I don't know if there was any public input on that. Usually when we have public input meetings, we always have the diagrams and drawings and whatever. We've done that for Olson Park a couple of times. And I think it was probably on the board, indicated on the board, but I don't think it was the focus of the discussion. So I know the plans were out there showing it, but I'm not sure it was really brought to anybody's attention that that's the intent. It's just like closing Mason Drive. I mean, that's controversial too. It's an area and access road to Pleasant Valley. The people that live in Pleasant Valley and the Coleman area use Mason Drive quite a bit. It's a high maintenance road because there's a lot of trash being dumped down there. And there's no lighting down there. There's no curb and gutter. It's, it's just basically not a very good road. And they just thought they'd block that off and make that into the trail system too, which is a little controversial for the people that actually do use it. But I don't think they reached out to the community to find out their input.
Well, let's hope you guys do the right thing here.
Well, we're trying. Sometimes it's like pounding your head against a concrete block wall.
But I guess we don't need to talk to the city council or the city manager or the mayor. We'll go talk to some people called the Trail Advisory Board. Who the hell are these people?
I don't know.
All right.
All right. Thank you for calling.
Thank you for calling. AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Death. Man, ladies and gentlemen, again, I'd like you to once again consider how powerless you truly are, and it is an absolute imperative that we start becoming powerful. We need to take back power from our government. Let's consider once again that a young man who burned down Bemrick Electric a few years ago has now been accused in a double murder. He was sentenced to 30 years for the Bemrick fire, and he was out in 3, not even 3. You know what that is? That's a failure in the criminal justice system. That means those who call themselves the criminal justice system are not serving you. They're serving themselves. And they are failing in protecting the public awfully, terribly, obviously.
Yeah, well,
yes, Dr. Mackey.
Well, again, looking at the plans and,
Advisory Board.
Well, I think the people on Olson Park Avenue need to be kind of consulted on some of the plans too, but we haven't really had an opportunity to reach out to them. They are going to cut in the access from Olson Park Avenue into the parking lot when they do close that little roadway through there. And that's going to create a little bit more of a bottleneck, a little bit more traffic. They're going to put parking on Olson Park Avenue. They'll probably do cutouts in the curb eventually. But again, these things haven't really been discussed with the neighbors that are going to be directly affected. And I think that's been part of our never-ending battle here, is that these plans are being made and we haven't really had an opportunity to interact with the public that's being affected with them. It's the same thing with we had when we took the animals out, when the Olson Park people, friends of the Olson Park Zoo, kind of disbanded, if you want to call it that.
That's why they were driven out of business.
Well, yeah, that's another way of putting it. But there was a petition.
They were volunteers.
Volunteers.
Jim Kramer, how many hours of community service, professional service did he give to the town?
Literally hundreds.
God.
Yeah. But anyway,
just told to get lost.
Yeah.
By the Parks and Rec Board.
Well,
who were the Parks and Rec Board?
I
know who they were. Yes,
names.
I know very well.
Yeah. But anyway,
and who are they to tell Jim Kramer and the friends of the park to get lost?
Yeah, but there was a petition out there, and there was over 800 signatures that were presented to us as council members, and I don't know where those people are. I mean, we haven't heard anything. We don't get the calls. We don't get the letters to the editor. We don't get people showing up at council wanting action on Olson Park. It's just it died up and blew away. So sometimes,
there were assurances kind of made on this radio station and other places that there was going to be action in Olson Park.
Well, there's
and I kind of took everybody's word for it, and I quieted down. I thought, well, okay, we've got the money, we've got the plan, let's get it going. Then all of a sudden, nobody knows. Oh, okay. And you don't know, and Fury don't know, and nobody knows why we're not implementing the plan.
Well, again, we're dealing with ISG. They're doing all the plans. And again, there's been a couple of tentative drawings. The drawings were based on money available. And I said, well, how much does this stuff cost? And the response was, we don't know. And I said, well, how can you make a determination of what you can do if you don't know how much money it is? And it just kind of died there. So, I don't know. I can't tell you. I mean, next year we're going to be looking at some major work. If it was me, I'd get a guy in there with a skid loader. We'd have that pond built.
Thank you very much.
And the trails aren't that difficult. We want to connect from the splash pad over to where the deer are, make it more accessible, improve those walkways. It's like I said a couple weeks ago on here, it's slower than molasses in January, and I don't understand why. Every time we try to get something done, it seems like we take 2 steps backwards. So all I know is that the plan.
Anybody in charge?
Yeah, there is.
And that would be?
Well, it's Parks and Rec Department and Nathan Groover with ISG. I've sent emails to Nathan. I don't get the response. Everything goes back through Lori. She is more or less spearheading this and doing all the work. So we've offered to help. I know Dean Hill has been, anxious too. He's, that's his ward down there. And I mean, Kim's been, involved, and Nevin and Lydia and, everybody's, and Jeff is, he's a neighbor of Olson Park. We all have interests. We all want to see it succeed, and we want it to become the jewel that it once was, but it's just, it's been bad.
Not all of us apparently want this to happen. I have a feeling if it was a real priority over at the city, it'd be getting done.
Yeah. Well, we keep asking. I mean, I hate to tell you how many phone calls and emails and conversations we've had. But again, I'm somewhat limited in my ability to make people move. So I don't know. But anyway, the plans are there. We're looking at another $950,000. We got $300 and some thousand.
Yeah, I'll take this microphone down to Olson Park and sit there and talk to the neighbors till we get some sort of action or explanation.
Well, when I showed the plans, the tentative plans to some of the neighbors, and they weren't very happy, and they told me they were going to show up for a meeting and talk about it. Nobody showed up.
Well, see, that's the problem, lack of involvement.
Yeah.
But again, once you get all these pledges and, still to this day, we have a tendency to trust people when public officials, when they tell us they're going to do something. Yeah. Here is, again, further proof why we shouldn't trust them.
Well, I keep asking because we want to put some kind of a shelter down there. And I think it's a golden place to put a shelter, an opportunity to develop something down there. And they keep saying there's no money. And I keep saying, well, there's potential for getting people to support this and donate for it. But we have to ask them first, and we have to have the plans. So, the original plans we saw a couple years ago had the shelter there. Now the new ones, the shelter's been pushed back for probably 2 or 3 years. And you don't even want to bring up animals because, that isn't even in the equation now for 2 or 3 years. And what animals we do bring in obviously are going to have to be more domesticated type, the cows and the miniature pigs, and I don't know what else, maybe a miniature horse or two. But I just think we used to get school buses full of people down there. And poor Pam Moeller, the money for the deer food ran out in July. She used to go down there every day and feed them vegetables and check on their health. And I don't know what's happening there now, but I know she doesn't have the money to do it.
This is AM 1400 KVFD. Good afternoon. You're on the air.
Mike, you want to buy my house?
Where is it?
Olson Park Avenue.
Olson I wouldn't mind.
I'll cut my ties while things still looking halfway decent.
What's the problem? What do you want to sell your house for?
Because I don't live in it.
You don't live in it?
No, I grew up in it, but I don't live in it.
All right, well, you're calling me from county or what?
Actually, I'm calling you down from by Granger.
What are you doing down there?
I don't know, but the mayor must have cranked up your wattage there because I can hear you down here.
All right. Well, every now and then we actually have somebody at the radio station who does something right.
wouldn't be you though, would it?
Yeah, it would be me. It would be me.
Now they're going to cut out the parking on the houses side or the Olson Park side?
On the Olson Park side, there'll be 2 driveways put in, an egress and an ingress over there, and then it will go across the little roadway there, and then where those big oak trees are, that will probably stay, and the original parking lot will stay. It's just that they're going to cut the access road in rather than using the little road that goes through it. They're going to cut it off of Olson Park Drive.
I was going to say there's a line of big trees along the street there, so I suppose they're going to have to cut 1 or 2 of them down then. Huh?
Yep, I would imagine. I mean, part of the problem is we have to put water, electricity, and sewer in there too, so we're trying to coordinate all that, trying to figure out with the trail work they're going to be doing, the sidewalks we putting in, and with all the concrete work that we're going to be doing, which isn't going to be that much, but it makes sense to me to get all that dug in before we start digging in driveways. So it's, like I said, the plans are there. It's just that it's very difficult to get the information. I would be more than
sorry for all the old people that want to listen to the band concert go out to walk.
Yeah, that's a great park. Yeah, that could be our best park down there, and nobody cares because it doesn't have anything to do with the great master plan to move everything to the north and east, which is baloney, let me add. Hey, thanks for your call. Glad you're in Granger. Yep. You'll be even better off when you get home, I have a feeling. But anyway, Dr. Menke has been here, our city councilman, Ward 1. Thank you so much for being here, Dr. Menke.
Not a problem.
All right. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you're listening to AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge.
If you're a gearhead or not, you'll enjoy the Under the Hood Car Show every Saturday afternoon from 2 till 4 on the voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400 KVFD.
Another possible election setback in Florida. On Lisa Brady, Fox News. As a recount continues, new questions about some of the ballots. Fox's Evan Brown is live at the Broward County Elections Office.
I'm out of here. You let me know.
Yeah, Lisa, some mail-in ballots, some sent here to Broward, others in Citrus County north of Tampa, even others sent to Okaloosa and Santa Rosa counties in the Florida Panhandle, had affidavit forms to correct irregularities with the wrong date to mail the forms back. It should have been Monday before Election Day, but the forms had Thursday after Election Day. The state says somebody illegally altered the forms, and now they want the Justice Department to investigate. Mail-in ballots received after Election Day are not supposed to be counted, Lisa.
Thanks, Eben. Leadership votes on Capitol Hill. House Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy picked to be the new minority leader. When Democrats take control in January, they won't vote for House Speaker until after Thanksgiving. The Democrats picking up another seat today. Political newcomer Andy Kim unseating a 2-term Republican in New Jersey. Progress for firefighters in California, continuing the battle against several wildfires, the 2 biggest, now blamed for at least 50 deaths in all, most in the city of Paradise, where the total of homes lost now tops 7,000. British Prime Minister Theresa May winning support from her cabinet for the draft plan for the UK to exit the European Union.
The choice was this deal, which enables us to take back control and to build a brighter future for our country, or going back to square one, with more division, more uncertainty.
Protesters still shouting as the marathon meeting wrapped up. The deal has many hurdles left to clear. Critics say it wouldn't be a full split from the EU. The Dow down over 200 points at the closing bell after a more than 500-point swing overall during the session. This is Fox News.
How can a fully stocked restroom improve your image? How can serviced fire extinguishers or a first aid cabinet make your employees more prepared? How can comfortable work apparel make your business more productive? For over 1 million customers, the answer is simple. Cintas. Cintas delivers everything you need to open your doors with confidence. Because helping keep businesses well-equipped, clean, and looking their best, that's our business. Oh, I'm ready! Get Cintas and get ready for the workday.
You started a DIY project at home. Then you realize convenience isn't always easy. The why in DIY doesn't mean, why is this so hard? At ADT, we DIFY, do it for you. We customize and install a secure smart home that you control from the palm of your hand or the sound of your voice. Smart security, designed and installed just for you with ADT. Visit ADT.com/smart to learn more. License information available at ADT.com. ADT, real protection.
Could be a major development in the Russia probe. A source telling Fox News President Trump's legal team is now finalizing his written responses to questions from special counsel Robert Mueller.
We understand the legal team has been preparing written responses about alleged coordination with Russia during the 2016 campaign and not obstruction of justice over the president's May 2017 firing of FBI Director James Comey. The president's legal team considers those questions infringing on the president's constitutional power to hire and fire.
Fox's Catherine Herridge in Washington. The president continues to deny any collusion with Russia. Meantime, Democrats continue to call for new acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker to recuse himself from the Russia probe. He now oversees it instead of Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein. Whitaker had been chief of staff to ousted AG Jeff Sessions, so he was never confirmed by the Senate. But the Justice Department's Office of Legal Counsel is backing his appointment as constitutional because it's temporary.
The memo, the Department of Justice writing, quote, consistent with our prior opinion and with centuries of historical practice and precedents, we advise that the president's designation of Mr. Whitaker as acting Attorney General on a temporary basis did not transform his position into a principal office requiring Senate confirmation.
Fox's John Roberts at the White House. Oil prices snap their worst losing streak ever, a 12-day slide that's been good news at the gas pump.
30-plus days of consecutive declines in gas prices. That is certainly good if you have a car. And now, according to Gas Buddy, there are 5 individual states in the U.S. that have at least one station offering gasoline for less than $2 a gallon.
Fox Business Network's Jeff Flock, that same group, says it's likely hundreds of gas stations will be at or under $2 a gallon by Thanksgiving. Again, stocks finish in a sell-off. Oil prices back over $56 a barrel. I'm Lisa Brady, and this is Fox News.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
Good afternoon. I'm Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Iowa Central Community College is looking into switching towards a flat tuition rate for students to replace the current system of tuition based on number of credits students take. Iowa Central President Dan Kinney says the proposal would decrease the students' tuition cost by over $1,000.
This will allow students to take 15 or 18 hours and still have the affordability and complete their degree in a timely manner. This will make it, I think, more affordable for students. It'll make us, I think, as an institution more competitive in the state. This isn't a new model. This is a new model of community colleges.
Iowa Central would be the first community college in Iowa to offer flat tuition and only the second community college in the entire country to offer the program. And Kinney says students would also receive a Surface Go device for the school year to aid in their education. The project, though, is still in the planning stages.
We hope in our December board meeting we'll have the complete package. We don't have the figures right now, but that we'll have the complete package put together and that we can take and we'll present to the board in our December board meeting. We are hoping this thing will be up and going in 2019.
Webster County is looking for a new emergency management coordinator after Scott Forbes resigned last month. Forbes was rehired to help emergency management part-time until a new coordinator is hired. But at yesterday's Board of Supervisors meeting, it was announced that Forbes will no longer serve on the Emergency Management Commission. Webster County Supervisor Merrill Leffler explained who would take over for Forbes until a replacement is hired.
Between the sheriff and Mr. Memrick and probably myself will fulfill those duties.
To apply for the position of Webster County Emergency Management Coordinator, please go to agency.governmentjobs.com/Webster County IA. Olson Park at 12th Avenue South and 17th Street in Fort Dodge is planning to undergo some upgrades next year, according to City Manager David Fierk on the Divine Intervention Show.
Next year we have we're planning on about $950,000 for Olson Park. So we have a rather large project planned for 2019.
Fierk explained what types of changes to the park Fort Dodge residents can expect.
We wanted to finish out what we're going to do with the old lake and pond and play features. We're going to redo the access to the parking lot and things like that. Plan on converting the little road that's inside there into a bike trail.
Sure.
And then making the parking lot access directly off Olson Park Avenue.
The project will first have to be approved by the Fort Dodge City Council at a future City Council meeting. Unity Point Health closed its orthopedic clinic in Fort Dodge last week on Wednesday, and the closure puts into question the future of athletic training services in the Fort Dodge Community School District. FDCSD Superintendent Jesse Ulrich addressed these concerns at Monday's school board meeting.
Not having an athletic trainer is not an option. So we will have an athletic trainer. It's a matter of legally and contractually how those services are provided in the district. So we are going to continue to gather information and engage with Unity Point to hopefully benefit our students.
Fort Dodge Senior High School currently has Unity Point Health employee Bree Dries in the position of athletic trainer. Ulrich says he hopes to maintain the relationship with Unity Point Health in the future.
Long term, it makes sense to be able to partner with Unity Point and be able to provide athletic training services for our students. As far as the district goes, our number one priority is student safety for those students engaged in our extracurricular activities.
This has been Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Have a great day.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. Bright sunshine this afternoon with highs around 44. South winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. Clear skies and quiet again. Tonight, lows level off around 24. Highs around 45. Tomorrow, mainly clear. Cloudy skies expected Friday with highs in the low 40s. Chance for snow Saturday. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 44.
The opinions and remarks expressed on this radio program by the host, guests, and call-in listeners are the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not reflect the views of management or ownership of KVFD AM 1400.
Iowa hog farmers have a lot to be proud of.
Proud of the quality products we put on tables around the world.
Proud of the strides we make to protect Iowa's natural resources.
Proud of the number of Iowans we're able to employ in safe workplaces.
Proud to protect and promote animal well-being in everything we do.
Iowa pork producers are proud because they do it right. And that's something all Iowans can take pride in.
Sponsored by Iowa's pork producers and their pork checkoff.
Iowa's pork producers work hard daily to produce safe, affordable food. Through the industry's We Care initiative, hog farmers are firmly committed to doing things right. That means keeping their pigs safe and healthy, safeguarding natural resources, protecting public health, and building strong communities. Producers fully understand the importance of pork quality, responsible production, and continuous improvement. It's the moral and ethical thing to do. Sponsored by Iowa's pork producers and their pork checkoff.
My name is Dr. Jonathan Greenberg. Stop what you are doing because what I'm about to say will improve the quality of your life. ZYPPAH.com. That's ZPA. It's Happy Z spelled backwards. ZPA is designed to be comfortable, affordable, and effective at eliminating snoring. I want to help you stop snoring. Go to ZPA.com and order now. ZYPPAH.com. Snoring is a serious matter. ZPA will conquer your snoring problems. Go to ZPA.com and order now.
Ride the bus with the Dart and Midas trends.
Need to get somewhere in Hamilton, Pocahontas, Calhoun, or Humboldt County? Midas will take you there. Live in Manson and need a ride to the grocery store? Midas will take you there. Live in Webster City and need a ride to the theater? Midas will take you there. Live in Rockwell City and need to get to the clinic? Midas will take you there. Call 800 Bus Ride. Midas, helping you get where you want to go. Your connection to Jefferson Lines.
Our job here is getting you there. Ride the bus.
Divine Intervention at AM 1400 KVFD, where Fort Dodge talk.
We stand in solidarity with them in hunting down the perpetrators of this crime and bringing them to justice.
If you don't listen to him, you suck.
He's sneaky, but he's right.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
You know, I ran that little snippet of Barack Obama for a reason. After this latest outrage, this latest terrible outrage at a nightclub at Thousand Oaks, California, very nice neighborhood, as I recall, and when I was there many years ago, and apparently it still is, according to news reports, some crazy person, crazy young man, deeply disturbed, went in there with an AR-15, of course, killed 11 people, including a sheriff's deputy ready for retirement, and then he killed himself, a final act of cowardice and madness. But there were a couple of people that appeared on television news and on radio, very bitter, which is understandable, of course. They'd lost a loved one, or a loved one had been injured in this, again, act of madness and cruelty. And they were very angry and in tears, some of them, talking about, well, we don't need your thoughts and prayers. We need action on gun control. That's fair. That's fair even with the emotion involved and even against the backdrop of a horrible event. That was a shot, of course, at conservatives and people who pray, people who have a sentimental view of our country and of their faith. We don't care about your faith. We don't care about your good feelings. We want you to get out of the way so we can do something about gun control, because that's the problem. Guns. There's too many guns. And I would have to say there are too many guns in the hands of the wrong people. And of course, we have all kinds of gun control laws now, and some of them aren't being observed. I would certainly point to this young man in Thousand Oaks, California. He had a history of bizarre behavior. A history of bizarre behavior. I would point to the terrible massacre in a church in Sutherland Springs, Texas. That man, that horrible murderer, should never have been allowed to buy the gun he used to kill 24 people. He shouldn't have had the gun. According to our laws, he shouldn't have had the gun. But the Air Force didn't report some violent domestic incidents he'd been involved in. So it wasn't on the database. The Air Force, I'm going to say it again because it still blows my mind. The Air Force, you would think a group like the Air Force would follow our country's laws when it came to a deeply disturbed man like this. You would think that they would pass on the information. You think the United States Air Force would pass on the information about this man to the FBI data center. They did not. Little whoops. 24 people were killed in a church of Jesus Christ. In a church of Jesus Christ. That is just an appalling, ugly, terrible story. But we knew this young man in Sutherland Springs, Texas. It was known by authorities that this man, this young man, had terrible problems, was a violent man. Our laws were not followed, and a terrible tragedy resulted. The young man in California apparently had problems from the time he was a teenager. Apparently, he assaulted a female coach that he had. I mean, can't we do something about this? Can't we do something about this? I mean, you want to talk about gun control? I'll talk gun control with you. And I'm a member of the NRA. And I'm ready to do something about it. But again, we have an alleged murderer in our midst who was convicted of burning down Bemrick Electric a few years ago and sentenced to 30 years in prison. He was out in 3, maybe 3. And now, a couple of people in our town are dead. Just a few blocks away from where I'm sitting right now. Actually, about a block away from where I'm sitting right now. I don't know. It just wears me out. I mean, it just wears me out. You know, here we have this shooting in Thousand Oaks, California, and already we're all in our corners. As a matter of fact, we don't seem to be too upset over this murder. Just a few days, really, after an anti-Semite killed, a dozen people in a synagogue, a house of God? A house of God? We need our authorities to be held accountable. I mean, Dr. Menke was in here just a few minutes ago. Apparently, we can't get anything done at Olson Park because of a travel advisory board. A bunch of bureaucrats. We want to get something done at Olson Park, but, well, we have this travel advisory board. Did anybody know we had a telecom board or a 9/11 board that apparently is going to make a decision on how our 911 service is run in Webster County? Isn't that nice? Do you feel consulted? Do you feel as a taxpayer that that your interests are being served, that anybody's consulting with you. And I understand we have professional people to run things for us, but every now and then we'd kind of like to be kept apprised. So maybe the people of the United States of America, the state of Iowa, and Fort Dodge, Iowa, could give their okay. Yes, we're a free people. We'd like to weigh in on this, but that's not happening. Our leaders are failing us. Our leaders are failing us. I don't even know if I want to talk about the Catholic Church today. I don't even know if I want to talk about the Catholic Church today. Here's another outrage. Right on the heels of an elderly priest being put in the Marian home here in town who had confessed to molesting boys, young boys, over a period of 20 years. Right here in the state of Iowa, our own Sioux City Diocese put this guy in the Marian home right across the street from a school. That, ladies and gentlemen, is seriously not caring. Boy, the diocese in Sioux Cities doesn't give a damn what you think. They don't. The diocese in Sioux City doesn't give a damn what you think. You know, as many times as I've tried to come back to the Catholic Church, I just haven't been able to do it. I raised my son in the Presbyterian Church because there was a huge scandal in New York and Louisiana back when he was a kid. And here we are 30-some years later, and it's still going on. It's something new all the time. Now, the U.S. Catholic bishops got together and they wanted to take strong action. The U.S. Catholic bishops got together and wanted to take strong action. The night before they were supposed to meet, Pope Francis and the Vatican told them to wait until February at the global summit that the Catholic Church is planning, run by, of course, the Pope and the Cardinals. And by the way, this looks like the Pope and the Cardinals, the princes of the Church, are standing in the way of doing something about an existential crisis in the Catholic Church so they can stay in charge, so they can run the church from the Vatican. Oh, that's all right, Americans. Your sons may be getting raped. Your daughters may be getting molested, but we got to hold on to the reins of power. I know a lot of Catholics in Fort Dodge, faithful, and I know a lot of Catholics in the area, faithful to the church, respectful and accept the teachings of the church, who are having second thoughts about the church. The Catholic Church in Iowa, in this part of Iowa, could be in trouble. Could be in trouble. There are some major donors to the Catholic Church that are taking another look at these decisions and what's happened. The disregard for the safety of children, the complete disinterest in the feelings of longtime parishioners, generational parishioners. Yeah, that's right. We put the priest in the Marian home. That's right, we did. And the fact that it was right across the school didn't cross our minds because we really don't care. That seems to be what the church is saying. We needed some place to put this old guy. He's 85 now. What are we going to do with these old guys? We'll stick them where we feel like it. If it's across the street from the school, well, that's a whoops on our part, I guess. But you still don't get to say anything about it. You still don't have any input. Your input means nothing to us. We're the church, not you. And this that report that came out of Pennsylvania was horrendous. Some of the things that priests did to young boys, and then it was known by church hierarchy, I can't repeat on the radio. I literally can't repeat some of the things that priests did to young boys. I'll tell you something here, and this is, I want to warn you, this will turn your stomach. A priest molested a child repeatedly, a young boy. And then that very priest had the young boy confess his sin of having sex with a priest to the very priest that had molested him. I want you to consider the stark evil of that. I want you to consider the stark evil that that is and that represents. I'd like Steve King to be the 4th congressional congressman. I don't think we need to see our congressman in the Toronto mayor's race. I don't think we need to see our congressman in Austria. I think we need to see our congressman in Washington, D.C. working for our interests here in Iowa and in the 4th congressional district. I've liked Steve King for a long time. I think he's a very bright and personable man. I think he means well. I think he wants to do what's right for the people of the congressional 4th district. And obviously the people in the congressional 4th district, and I would include myself in this, believe that he's the best man for the job. But the fact is, a rank amateur nearly beat him. J.D. Scholten shouldn't even been in the race. J.D. Scholten chased a Major League Baseball dream. He played 7 years in the minor leagues, and believe me, in Class A minor league ball, that doesn't pay much. I mean, you cannot support yourself what you get in a year pitching in the minor leagues, as J.D. Scholten did for 7 years. Most young people get the picture after a couple of years and get real jobs in real lives. Scholten didn't. Apparently, he chased this well into his 20s and then became a paralegal and bounced around for a while. So at the age of 38, he decides, where does he come from, to run for the congressional 4th district. Now, Steve King's been knocking people over in that congressional 4th for a long time. So the Democratic Party is thinking, well, if this enthusiastic young guy wants to make a run of it, why not? He can make a lot of noise and embarrass King. If nothing else, he doesn't have a chance to win. Well, he nearly beat King. I mean, somebody with his life resume. I mean, I'd have to look hard at J.D. Scholten's resume before I hired him to do anything. I don't know if I could recommend him to Alpha Media, the station or the group that owns this radio station. I don't know if I could recommend him based on his resume and his performance and his skill level, which I really don't know. I don't need somebody here at the radio station. We don't need somebody at the radio station who can throw a ball in a straight line. But he nearly beat Steve King. And the reason he nearly beat Steve King is Steve King. So I'm going to ask my congressman, and I think Governor Reynolds said it as well. Governor Reynolds came out to make a supposedly spontaneous remark about Congressman Steve King. A reporter in the crowd asked her about Steve King, and she came down hard on the congressman. And, you know, our friend Steve King needs a wake-up call, to say the very least. And remember, Congressman King was the co-chair of her campaign, and she stood by him. But she rather vigorously, I guess I'll describe it that way, rather vigorously told us that Congressman King needed to look toward the future as far as where he was going with his career. I would ask the congressman to reflect in prayer where he's going with his career and his personal life. I hope he listens, but yeah, Kim Reynolds, again, supposedly a spontaneous question from a reporter that she would answer off the cuff. And of course, some wiseacre took a picture of her notebook, and on the back of her notebook, she had her response to the question all set up. So that was a plant. Don't do that, Governor Reynolds. It makes you look like a damn fool. If you want to make a statement about Congressman King or anybody, come out and make the statement. If you need to read from a prepared statement, by all means do it. But don't try to fake us out. That makes conservatives look duplicitous. I would like to think that it is the liberals who are duplicitous and who are always screaming their heads off and calling people names and just crazy. Crazy. Anyway, I guess that's my 20 cents for today. Actually, I'll be back right after the news with another 20 cents. Thanks for listening.
Divine Intervention at AM 1400 KVFD, where Fort Dodge talk.
We stand in solidarity with them in hunting down the perpetrators of this crime and bringing them to justice.
If you don't listen to him, you suck.
He's sneaky, but he's right.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
You know, nobody ever told Barack Obama, we don't need you standing in solidarity. We need some action. But I guess that's because he's the big B.O. 329 AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge.
First State Bank, first for you.
First State Bank and its ag lenders are first for you. They have the desire to work with you and the authority to make their decisions locally. When it comes to agriculture, they strive to be your #1 financial institution leader. Stop into one of their 7 convenient locations or give one of their ag lenders a call. First State Bank, your ag team of choice in Central Iowa. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
First State Bank, first for you.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
Good afternoon. I'm Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Iowa Central Community College is looking into switching towards a flat tuition rate for students to replace the current system of tuition based on number of credits students take. Iowa Central President Dan Kinney says the proposal would decrease the students' tuition cost by over $1,000.
This will allow students to take 15 or 18 hours and still have the affordability and complete their degree in a timely manner. This will make it, I think, more affordable for students. It'll make us, I think, as an institution more competitive in the state. This isn't a new model. This is a new model of community colleges.
Iowa Central would be the first community college in Iowa to offer flat tuition and only the second community college in the entire country to offer the program. And Kinney says students would also receive a Surface Go device for the school year to aid in their education. The project, though, is still in the planning stages.
We hope in our December board meeting, we'll have the complete package. We don't have the figures right now, but that we'll have the complete package put together and that we can take and we'll present to the board in our December board meeting. We are hoping this thing will be up and going in 2019.
Webster County is looking for a new emergency management coordinator after Scott Forbes resigned last month. Forbes was rehired to help emergency management part-time until a new coordinator is hired. But at yesterday's Board of Supervisors meeting, it was announced that Forbes will no longer serve on the Emergency Management Commission. Webster County Supervisor Merrill Leffler explained who would take over for Forbes until a replacement is hired.
Between the sheriff and Mr. Van Rank and probably myself will fulfill those duties.
To apply for the position of Webster County Emergency Management Coordinator, please go to agency.governmentjobs.com/Webster County IA. Olson Park at 12th Avenue South and 17th Street in Fort Dodge is planning to undergo some upgrades next year, according to City Manager David Fierk on the Divine Intervention Show.
Next year we have I think we're planning on about $950,000 for Olson Park. So we have a rather large project planned for 2019.
Fierk explained what types of changes to the park Fort Dodge residents can expect.
We wanted to finish out what we're going to do with the old lake and pond and play features. We're going to redo the access to the parking lot and things like that. Plan on converting the little road that's inside there into a bike trail.
Sure.
And then making the parking lot access directly off Olson Park Avenue.
The project will first have to be approved by the Fort Dodge City Council at a future City Council meeting. Unity Point Health closed its orthopedic clinic in Fort Dodge last week on Wednesday, and the closure puts into question the future of athletic training services in the Fort Dodge Community School District. FDCSD Superintendent Jesse Ulrich addressed these concerns at Monday's school board meeting.
Not having an athletic trainer is not an option. So we will have an athletic trainer. It's a matter of legally and contractually how those services are provided in the district. So we are going to continue to gather information and engage with Unity Point to hopefully benefit our students.
Fort Dodge Senior High School currently has Unity Point Health employee Bree Dries in the position of athletic trainer. Ulrich says he hopes to maintain the relationship with Unity Point Health in the future.
Long term, it makes sense to be able to partner with Unity Point and be able to provide athletic training services for our students. As far as the district goes, our #1 priority is student safety for those students engaged in our extracurricular activities.
This has been Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Have a great day.
The use of antibiotics in food animals is a concern for some consumers, but should it be? Hi, I'm Julie Harker with Healthy Living on Brownfield. The USDA requires meat be free of antibiotics before reaching consumers. Dr. Doug Fulenchek with Zoetis Animal Health Company says retailers have responded to consumer demand to show on package labels that meats and poultry are antibiotic free.
Even before this movement of antibiotics in the animal industry, all of the products that carry that inspection legend are residue-free, antibiotic-free, hormone-free. So it's always been that way.
Fulenchek says he understands consumers' concerns.
Our society is concerned about the use of antibiotics in animal production. And in particular, they're concerned about that use causing the antibiotics used in human medicine becoming ineffective.
And he says livestock producers have to do more to prevent disease in their animals in the first place.
That means that the livestock producers have to be much better managers at preventing disease so that they don't have to treat disease.
In the poultry industry, for example, he says they're using vaccines to prevent diseases from taking hold. Animals that are treated with antibiotics have to be held back from processing so the medication leaves their systems completely. I'm Julie Harker with Healthy Living on Brownfield, brought to you by Ram Trucks, built to serve.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become one in a million.
I want to thank my mommy for loving me so much,
for taking me to the doctor when I broke my foot, for leaving me alone when I wanted to be alone.
And now, as a grown-up, I'm thankful for being able to take care of you, my dear mom, for taking you to your therapies, for understanding that sometimes you simply want to be alone.
Roles change without us noticing. That's why AARP gives you the information to provide even better care for your loved one. Visit aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
This is AM 1400, KVFD, the voice for Dodge. It's 3:35. Let's go to the news here. And let's go to the news. Let's go to the weather. How's that? Yeah, it's 44 degrees right now at AM 1400, KVFD, the voice for Dodge. That is our projected high. It'll be sunny the rest of this afternoon. High maybe up to 45. I take back the 44 projected high thing. We might get another degree going here. Overnight clear with a low of 24. Tomorrow sunny with a high of 45. Friday it'll be sunny with a high of 43. On Saturday a chance of snow. Then sunny with a high of 28. Sunday it'll be sunny with a high of 31. Monday sunny with a high of 39. And on Tuesday sunny with a high of 41 degrees. Right now in town once again it's 44 degrees under a mostly sunny sky. At AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Ford Dodge. Obituaries this hour brought to us by Loftus Fido Seavers Funeral Home and Cremation Services at 307 South 12th Street in Fort Dodge. You may contact Loftus Fido Seavers Funeral Home and Cremation Services by calling 515-576-3156 or online at www.loftusfidoseaversfuneralhome.com. Esther Moon has died at the age of 72. Esther V. Moon, 72 years old, has died. There will be a visitation Friday from 4 to 7 at Loftus Fido Seavers Funeral Home with a prayer service at 7 o'clock. Obituaries this hour brought to us by Loftus Fido Seavers Funeral Home and Cremation Services at 307 South 12th Street, Fort Dodge. You may contact Loftus Fido Seavers Funeral Home and Cremation Services by calling 515-576-3156 or online at www.loftusfidoseaversfuneralhome.com. It's 3:37 and 44 degrees at AM 1400, KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. With a look at the closing market report, here's Dwayne Murley.
Here's a look at how the markets closed today. December corn up a half a cent at $3.67. March up a quarter penny at $3.78. May corn unchanged at $3.85 3/4, and July down a penny at $3.92 1/4. November soybeans up 3 1/4 at $8.70 1/2. January up 5 1/4 at $8.83 1/2. March beans up a nickel at $8.96 3/4. May up 5 1/4 at $9.10 1/4. quarter. December wheat closed down 4 3/4 at $5.03. Soybean meal up $1.80 a ton at $3.0570. December live cattle down 77 cents at $114.60. February down 15 at $118.60. November feeder cattle unchanged at $148.97. January unchanged at $146.97. December lean hogs down 30 cents at $57, and February up 17 cents at $62.35. From the farm desk, I'm Dwayne Murley.
The General Store has been transformed into a Christmas wonderland. From Christmas decor to stockings to hang with care. From Christmas trees to lawn ornaments. From wreaths to Christmas sweaters. The General Store has your holidays covered and looking better than ever. The whole store is packed full of Christmas items. And the best part? Everything at the General Store is always tax-free, and all proceeds go toward helping people in our community. The General Store, making spirits bright at 12 North 25th, Fort Dodge.
At Budget Blinds, caring is in our DNA. It's the way we do business every day. It starts with exceptional customer service, a process that is centered around you. We listen to you, take the time to find out about your needs, then guide you through a beautiful selection of custom window coverings to find the very best options for you. Our commitment to caring continues throughout our local neighborhoods. We care for our homes and our communities. Budget Blinds supports so many different causes all across North America. We're your local neighborhood experts. We live and work right next to you, and we do it all for you. If that's the kind of personal service you've been waiting for, call and see for yourself. 855-BUDGET-BLINDS. 855-BUDGET-BLINDS. Or find us online at budgetblinds.com. While you're there, find out more about the Budget Blinds commitment to giving back at #BudgetBlindsCares. Each franchise independently owned and operated. Ask for details.
Take the worry out of winter with a winter weather advisor on KVFD, brought to you by Community Health Center Fort Dodge, offering dental, behavioral health, and general medical assistance for men, women, and children. They're committed to your well-being. Community Health Center. Get to know them. And Creative Cakes, making life sweet with espresso, lunch, gourmet cupcakes, and other sweet treats. Creative Cakes in the Crossroads Mall, Fort Dodge. They make life sweet. Listen for the winter weather advisor on the Voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400 KVFD.
The bakers of Country Hearth Breads want to put a little more jolly in your holiday this season with their Home for the Holidays sweepstakes. One lucky winner will receive a check for $1,000 to use for travel, gifts, or just celebrating with family and friends, whatever would make your holiday more memorable. Enter today at countryhearthbreads.com/sweeps for your chance to win. Country Hearth Breads, locally baked and delivered fresh daily.
Michael Devine, when you want compelling talk.
Miss Torvald didn't seem too happy about being dumped.
What, you think she carried a grudge for a year?
Or his wife did.
If she knew about his definition of employee relations.
Don't wives always know?
Mine did.
Yours didn't hire a hitman.
Not yet.
Michael Devine, the mayor of Manville.
It's a fancy title for a part-time job.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
Yes, Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD. It's 3:41. This Week in Liberals. Time for This Week in Liberals. Mark Hamill played Luke Skywalker in the great 1977 movie Star Wars. I thought it was terrific at the time. A real cowboys and Indians movie set in the distant future with aliens and all that sort of great stuff. Somehow, Mark Hamill was not able to parlay his part in this great movie into anything more substantial. He starred in some of the sequels, which I have no idea how many sequels to the Star Wars that there are in the Star Wars franchise. Mark Hamill's in his mid-60s now, and he's a complete, well, he's washed up, of course. They don't. He's too old even to play Obi-Wan Kenobi or whatever. But Mark Hamill declared yesterday that it's time to stop electing men to leadership roles in government. All men, no exceptions. Apparently, Barack Obama's Saint O is not acceptable to Mark Hamill. He is demanding that it's time to stop electing men at all to leadership roles in government. Here's a quote from his Twitter account. For centuries, men have had their chance to rule government with middling to poor results. Middling to poor results. Who's ready to let women take charge completely? Just women. I know I am, he said. This Week in Liberals, starring Mark Hamill. He's got to star somewhere, I guess. I don't know if he's actually sincere in this. This sounds like another desperate attempt by an actor with no work to get some attention. And he got it from me. Of course, I'm here in Fort Dodge. I don't think any Hollywood producers are listening to me, but it was a great This Week in Liberals piece, I'll tell you. Mark Hamill, yes, Luke Skywalker, we have known him as, has insisted now that we elect only women, because we've had men so far with middling to poor results. I would say that coming out of the caves and really landing on the moon some centuries later, actually in the last 125 years, there have been some technological changes. And yes, men have had an integral part in these technological, societal changes, cultural changes that have improved the lives of everyone on the planet. They have improved the lives of everyone on the planet. Now, Mark Hamill no doubt agrees with some of the white male things that white males insist on, like free speech. You know, free speech is a tool of white oppression, don't you? We cannot have free speech because speech itself can be oppressive, and most certainly is oppressive to minority communities. So there you go. Actually, that's just a cheap two-bit hustle from political activists to silence people. The last thing liberals want is intellectual engagement. They want to yell shame. They want to yell shame. And that's it. That's all they're ever going to do. Jim Acosta is a little guy who works for CNN, and he likes to bait the president of the United States. And the president occasionally, well, always takes the bait. And he has had his White House press credentials suspended. Actually, they've been taken from him. Now, I want to point out when we talk about free speech that Jim Acosta has no constitutional or legal right at all to be in that White House press room. None, zip, nada. He's just a little camera hog dealing with a small man's complex. I mean, that's who Jim Acosta is. And he'll start writing books here pretty soon. I mean, there's a lot of money in book sales. I mean, Sam Donaldson, Bill O'Reilly are just a couple of well-known press people. Dan Rather, they've all written books, and they've gotten a lot of money for writing those books. It'll be Acosta's term here pretty soon. And it will hit Acosta's book, like all the other books, will feature him as a hero fighting against an oppressive enemy. I'd like to point out to Acosta that in many, many countries in the world, perhaps the majority countries in the world, if he acted as he does toward President Trump, he'd be thrown in jail, beaten, and the government would insist his employers fire him, which they would do if they didn't want to get beaten themselves. So the Jim Acosta, again, a camera hog working out some small man issues, that Jim Acosta has somehow been treated poorly is an absolute bunk. But Fox News has filed an amicus brief. And in other words, they are joining CNN in their challenge to the Trump White House and the suspension of Acosta's press credentials. According to Fox News, the White House access should not be weaponized. Those are pretty dramatic words. It should not be weaponized. What does that mean exactly? What does that mean, weaponized? Is that what the White House is doing, or are they just getting rid of a pest who wants to dominate the press conference, who obviously doesn't like Donald Trump, who obviously is opposed to the policies of Donald Trump, and he wants to hide behind his press credential and saying, I'm here for all our freedoms? No, he isn't. Jim Acosta is in that room to get wealthy.
and to gather attention for himself and his network. He wants to be rich and famous, and he's getting it done. Fox News has been acting a little strangely in the last several years. I don't really think they should have gotten rid of Bill O'Reilly. Bill O'Reilly hit on a colleague over dinner. Okay. The lady said no. And that was it. Now, O'Reilly did not have her on his show as much as he once did, and perhaps not at all. But let's take that at face value. So what? He asked a woman if she'd like to go upstairs with him, and she said no. That's called getting shot down. That's good. And I don't know. Bill O'Reilly was, I'm not Brad Pitt by any stretch of the imagination, but neither is Bill O'Reilly. So, maybe he should have taken it a little bit better. But still, the woman he hit on was a visiting contributor. She wasn't an employee of Fox News, but Fox News moved pretty fast. They really wanted to change who they are, and they have. And now they have that babbling Sean Hannity there. Frankly, we had Sean Hannity on this radio station for a while. I was so glad we got rid of him. I mean, he's absolutely relentless, and he just will not stop. I mean, Sean, get over yourself. He's just, to listen to him, I can't listen to Sean Hannity. But he's their star now. Not Bill O'Reilly, who was reasonable. He was certainly conservative. But O'Reilly was at least reasonable. He wasn't afraid to have anybody on the air and engage with them. Respectfully, I might add. Hannity just insults people. So I'm not understanding why Fox News is joining CNN. I guess is where I'm going with this, to bring it around to the beginning. I don't understand. Fox liberals are just bashing the credibility of Fox News and have been for a long time. And maybe it's having an effect. I don't know. The last I heard, Hannity still had twice as many listeners as Rachel Maddow. Now, Maddow is the female version and the liberal version of Hannity. She is. She might be a little more erudite than Sean Hannity, but that's it. I mean, she's just a flamethrower, as Hannity is. But Fox News, the last I heard, yeah, Hannity was still beating her 2-1. And Fox News had far more viewers and listeners than MSNBC. So I don't know what. I know since the old man Rupert Murdoch kind of steps aside and his sons took over, they have taken Fox News in a different direction. And they got rid of O'Reilly. They certainly got rid of Roger Ailes, who really built Fox News for the Murdoch family from the ground up, and he did a tremendous job. But why he thought he could use his position to proposition women, I have no idea. That's disgusting and reprehensible. And I can say this about Roger Ailes. I was always better looking than Roger Ailes. I've seen pictures of Roger Ailes when he was a young man up to the time he was old, and I'm getting fairly old myself. Roger was never a good-looking guy, and he shouldn't have been hitting on Megyn Kelly or Gretchen Carlson, either one. I don't care. I mean, frankly, the looks or charisma of the woman make no difference at all. I am opposed to sexist advances in the workplace. Now, what O'Reilly did was considerably different. Ailes approached Gretchen Carlson with an offer of a better job and more money if she'd have sex with him. That's gross. That is grotesque. That is immoral. O'Reilly asked a woman for a date. Actually, a little further, he asked a woman for a date and then asked if she'd like to spend the night with him. She accepted the dinner invitation and turned him down for the sex thing. Fine. 2 adults, it happens. You're supposed to contact your lawyer now before you ask a woman if she'd like to go upstairs with you? Before I ask you this next question, let me get a hold of my attorney to make sure we're all right. As a matter of fact, what's your attorney's name? We'll have them talk to see if we should do this. Oh, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. Hi there. I'm interested in you. Give me your attorney's name, and I'll have my attorney contact your attorney to see if we should be going out. And once we will go out, what the rules are. AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. I want to follow up on something I talked about yesterday, and that was the death of Shane Jensen. If you recall, in Monday's paper, the Fort Dodge Messenger carried a front page story on some of Shane Jensen's relatives and friends who were protesting in front of the police department in Humboldt. Now, I don't know why. My real question was why the Fort Dodge Messenger was carrying this story on the front page. Now, Shane Jensen's mother believes she has grounds for a lawsuit in the death of her son. But as reported in the Messenger, Shane Jensen was a troubled young man, 19 years old, and he was armed with a 9mm pistol. He had talked about suicide by cop. Police found him under a porch and knew he was armed. He initially wouldn't come out, but when he did, he had a pistol in his hand. There was a report that he fired the pistol in the air as officers all yelled for him to drop the weapon. He did not. In fact, the article's name was 28 seconds. That's how long. From the time police officers apparently came in contact with Mr. Jensen, again armed with a pistol, until he was shot. So there are those who believe the police, or actually it was a conservation officer who shot Mr. Jensen. But here's the question I have for you, ladies and gentlemen. What are the police supposed to do? What would you do when confronting an armed man who will not surrender his weapon? Should the police be forced to wait until they're fired upon? Or pointing a pistol? Shane's mother tells us that Shane never pointed a pistol, so his death was not justified. Never pointed a pistol at law enforcement. Here's my question to you, and you can call me here at 515-955-1400. Should a police officer wait, or a law enforcement officer wait, for a young disturbed man to actually point a pistol in his direction before the officer fires? Should that happen? Should we force law enforcement to do that? Because if we're going to force law enforcement to wait until someone actually draws a bead on them before they can fire lawfully, then we're going to start losing officers pretty fast, because nobody in their right mind should have to do that. Mr. Jensen was known to the police in Humboldt, known to law enforcement. I don't recall from the article right offhand, but I'm sure that the officers talked with each other by radio or whatever, that this was Shane Jensen, and he was known to them. And he was armed with a pistol and had talked about suicide by cop. So every time this happens, then, and this is a tragedy, there's no winners here. The officers, I'm sure, don't feel good about this at all. The officers are probably the last people in the world, other than immediate relatives, that wanted to see this happen. They wanted to take Mr. Jensen into custody without incident. They wanted him to surrender his pistol and come with them, where he would have no doubt gotten mental health treatment of some kind. And I know, mental health treatment in our state is a big deal, and something's got to be done about it. But the question here again is, well, there's two of them to my mind. Should we make an officer wait until somebody points a pistol at him, and the officer knows the young man in this case was disturbed? Should we force an officer to wait until the pistol is actually pointed at him? Because these things can happen in a split second. Mr. Jensen may have had the pistol by his side, but he could have had it up and drawn a bead in a second and fired in about 3 seconds. I know I can, and I'm getting old. I can bring a pistol up from my side, sight it, and fire it quickly, very quickly. Should we make an officer, any officer, wait for that to happen before deadly force is used? That's the question. Another question I have is this really grounds for an unjustified death? And certainly, third, what the hell is the Fort Dodge Messenger putting this on the front page for? Do they think that Mr. Jensen was unlawfully killed? That the Humboldt police and the law enforcement people in Humboldt County did something wrong? What was it they did wrong? What was it that the officers did wrong? Their first responsibility is to make sure that they and their fellow officers aren't hurt or, God forbid, killed, which they certainly could have been in this case. Anyway, if you have a feeling on that, it's 515-955-1400, 515-955-1400. Some member, I don't know who, but some member of the County Board of Supervisors is going to be here right after the news at 4 o'clock. I think we're going to have the return of Dave. We're going to have the return of Dave Flattery at 4:30, actually about 4:35. I look forward to seeing Dave. He's a sharp guy, a city councilman, all that stuff. He's a leader in our town, and I haven't talked with Dave in a long, long time. So I look forward to talking with him right after the news at 4:30. It's going to be sunny today, the rest of today with a high of 45, overnight clear with a low of 24. Tomorrow, sunny with a high of 45. Right now, 44 degrees. This is AM 1400. KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge.
Hi, this is Leslie Segretti.
And I'm Tom Kreitler, and you can hear the Money Pit every Saturday afternoon from 4 to 6 on the voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400 KVFD, Fort Dodge.
It could be a first step. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. President Trump just announcing something both sides of the aisle have called for: prison reform.
Today's announcement shows that true bipartisanship is possible. And maybe it'll be thriving if we're going to get something done.
He calls it the right thing to do, getting tougher on the worst criminals, but giving a second chance to others and offering more help to former inmates reentering society. The president urging Congress to finish the fine print. He says he'll have his pen ready. A short-lived bipartisan move, though, on the Senate floor. It was a bill driven by last week's ousting of Attorney General Jeff Sessions, fueling more concern about possible interference in the Russia probe. Fox's Jared Halpern, live on Capitol Hill.
The measure designed to protect the special counsel's job. It will not get a vote in the Senate. A request by Democrat Chris Coons and Republican Jeff Flake was quickly rejected.
The president now has this investigation in his sights, and we all know it.
Flake, who is retiring from the Senate at the end of the year, says he intends to renew his request again and will not support any judicial nominees until a special counsel protection bill is considered. Republican leader Mitch McConnell objected. He has argued the legislation is not necessary. Lisa.
Thanks, Jared. Meantime, congressional leaders looking ahead to the new session in January.
We're going to be relentlessly focused on the issues that matter to the people.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer keeps his post. So does Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. While in the House, Republicans pick Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy to be the new Minority Leader.
Not one Democrat voted for that tax bill in the House or in the Senate. I know they want to repeal that. I know they want to remove ICE. I know they want to impeach the president. I just don't think that's the agenda that America wants to see.
Democrats won't vote for House Speaker until after Thanksgiving. On Wall Street, a sell-off, the Dow down 205. This is Fox News.
What gives one company the edge over another? Maybe it's not one thing. Maybe it's taking care of lots of things that help a business run smoothly. In other words, Cintas. Cintas has products that help your people stay safe and apparel programs that convey the right image. They service fire protection equipment, deliver and stock restroom supplies, and make sure facilities are clean and ready. Because when all those things work together, you're in business.
Oh, I'm ready!
Get Cintas and get ready for the workday.
The leaves are falling. While shopping for a new rake, you check your ADT security camera from your phone and see some kids with toilet paper and eggs approaching your property. Then you see what they see, your ADT sign and outdoor camera, and scurry away. Scarecrow service, brought to you by ADT, designing and installing a smart home just for you, backed by best-in-class 24/7 protection. Learn more at ADT.com. ADT, real protection. License information available at ADT.com.
California's wildfire battle continues.
I'm issuing an executive order today that will speed up recovery, cut red tape, overcome some regulations and other kind of laws that get in our way.
Governor Jerry Brown touring some of the devastation with U.S. Interior Chief Ryan Zinke in the northern city of Paradise. At least 48 dead, over 7,000 homes destroyed, 2 more dead, and hundreds of homes lost in Southern California as well. Defense Chief James Mattis visiting some of the support troops sent to the Mexican border and telling them in so many words not to believe everything they hear in the news.
You just concentrate on what your company commander, your battalion commander tells you. Because if you read all that stuff, you'll go nuts. You know what I mean?
Mattis has defended the mission and insisted it's not a political stunt as a caravan of migrants continues to head north from Central America. The attorneys already fighting at the federal trial of a reputed Mexican drug lord in New York City.
In the defense's opening statement, attorney Jeffrey Lichtman argued that El Chapo is not the real leader of the Sinaloa cartel and that the actual leader is still free due to bribes to, among others, current and former Mexican presidents. Prosecutors wanted the defense opening thrown out, but the judge opted to admonish them on the bribery allegation. A spokeswoman for current Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto called the claim absolutely false in a statement. Prosecutors' first witness testified on finding a tunnel in Arizona in 1990, believed to be used by cartels to funnel drugs into the U.S. In New York, Gernal Scott, Fox News.
Just getting word of 2 people dead, dozens of others injured after a tour bus flipped over on an icy highway ramp near Memphis, Tennessee. I'm Lisa Brady, and this is Fox News.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
Good afternoon. I'm Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Iowa Central Community College is looking into switching towards a flat tuition rate for students to replace the current system of tuition based on number of credits students take. Iowa Central President Dan Kinney says the proposal would decrease the students' tuition cost by over $1,000.
This will allow students to take 15 or 18 hours and still have the affordability and complete their degree in a timely manner. This will make it, I think, more affordable for students. It'll make us, I think, as an institution more competitive in the state. This isn't a new model. This is a new model of community colleges.
Iowa Central would be the first community college in Iowa to offer flat tuition and only the second community college in the entire country to offer the program. And Kinney says students would also receive a Surface Go device for the school year to aid in their education. The project, though, is still in the planning stages.
We hope in our December board meeting, we'll have the complete package. We don't have the figures right now, but that we'll have the complete package put together and that we can take and we'll present to the board in our December board meeting. We are hoping this thing will be up and going in 2019.
Webster County is looking for a new emergency management coordinator after Scott Forbes resigned last month. Forbes was rehired to help emergency management part-time until a new coordinator is hired. But at yesterday's Board of Supervisors meeting, it was announced that Forbes will no longer serve on the Emergency Management Commission. Webster County Supervisor Merrill Leffler explained who would take over for Forbes until a replacement is hired.
Between the sheriff and Mr. Memrick and probably myself will fulfill those duties.
To apply for the position of Webster County Emergency Management Coordinator, please go to agency.governmentjobs.com/Webster County IA. Olson Park at 12th Avenue South and 17th Street in Fort Dodge is planning to undergo some upgrades next year, according to City Manager David Fierk on the Divine Intervention Show.
Next year we have we're planning on about $950,000 for Olson Park. So we have a rather large project planned for 2019.
Fierk explained what types of changes to the park Fort Dodge residents can expect.
We wanted to finish out what we're going to do with the old lake and pond and play features. We're going to redo the access to the parking lot and things like that. Plan on converting a lot the little road that's inside there into a bike trail.
Sure.
And then making the parking lot access directly off Olson Park Avenue.
The project will first have to be approved by the Fort Dodge City Council at a future City Council meeting. Unity Point Health closed its orthopedic clinic in Fort Dodge last week on Wednesday, and the closure puts into question the future of athletic training services in the Fort Dodge Community School District. FDCSD Superintendent Jesse Ulrich addressed these concerns at Monday's school board meeting.
Not having an athletic trainer is not an option. So we will have an athletic trainer. It's a matter of legally, contractually, how those services are provided in the district. So we are going to continue to gather information and engage with Unity Point to hopefully benefit our students.
Fort Dodge Senior High School currently has Unity Point Health employee Bree Dries in the position of athletic trainer. Ulrich says he hopes to maintain the relationship with Unity Point Health in the future.
Long term, it makes sense to be able to partner with Unity Point and be able to provide athletic training services for our students. As far as the district goes, our number one priority is student safety for those students engaged in our extracurricular activities.
This has been Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Have a great day.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. Bright sunshine this afternoon with highs around 44. South winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. Clear skies and quiet again. Tonight, lows level off around 24. Highs around 45. Tomorrow, mainly clear. Cloudy skies expected Friday with highs in the low 40s. Chance for snow Saturday. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 42.
The opinions and remarks expressed on this radio program by the host, guests, and call-in listeners are the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not reflect the views of management or ownership of KVFD AM 1400.
At Budget Blinds, caring is in our DNA. It's the way we do business every day. It starts with exceptional customer service, a process that is centered around you. We listen to you, take the time to find out about your needs, then guide you through a beautiful selection of custom window coverings to find the very best options for you. Our commitment to caring continues throughout our local neighborhoods. We care for our homes and our communities. Budget Blinds supports so many different causes all across North America. We're your local neighborhood experts. We live and work right next to you, and we do it all for you. If that's the kind of personal service you've been waiting for, call and see for yourself. 855-BUDGET Blinds. 855-BUDGET Blinds. Or find us online at budgetblinds.com. While you're there, find out more about the Budget Blinds commitment to giving back at #BudgetBlindsCares. Each franchise independently owned and operated. Ask for details.
Hi, I'm Michael Devine with Divine Intervention at AM 1400, KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. From 2 to 5, Monday through Friday, I'll be on the air talking local issues, local politics, local concerns. The only way this works, once again, is to have you join the conversation by calling 515-955-1400. Afternoons, 2 to 5, Divine Intervention. Please join the conversation. And I want to thank Alpha Media for allowing this program on the air in a town the size of Fort Dodge.
Michael Devine, the Doctor of Truth.
Does anyone have anything they'd like to confess?
At AM 1400 KVFD.
This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. We are going to tell the truth, make it matter, never be boring. I'm Michael Devine, and joining us again today from Southern Methodist University is Dr. Dean Stanzel, an economist with Southern Methodist University. Hi, Dean.
Hi, Mike. How you doing?
I'm doing outstanding. Of course, Dean and I are always outstanding, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, yeah.
You are with the O'Neill Center at SMU. Please describe the O'Neill Center.
Sure thing. The O'Neill Center for Global Markets and Freedom is a research institute in the Cox Business School at SMU in Dallas, and it was set up by one of our alums named William O'Neill. And William O'Neill is also the founder of Investors Business Daily newspaper at investors.com. And we study the impact of competitive market forces on freedom and prosperity in the global economy. Our website is o'neillcenter.org. That's ONEIL.
All right. Dr. Stanzel has sent me via email the Fraser Institute Economic Freedom Report. And as Dr. Stanzel and I were talking just before we went on the air, this report covers through the year 2016. So it's I talked with Dean about that a little bit because I found Iowa in the third quintile, which, am I saying that right?
Quartile. There's quartiles and there's quintiles. Quartiles is groups of 4, and then quintiles is groups of 5.
Right.
In this case, we got them broken into 4 groups: highest freedom, lowest freedom, and then the 2 in between.
Yeah, and we're in the third here in Iowa.
Yeah, where first is most free, and 4th is least free.
And ladies and gentlemen, I may acknowledge as well that Dr. Stanzel's home state. Some of you will remember that Dr. Stanzel, when we first started talking with him, was on staff at Florida Gulf Coast University in Fort Myers. Florida is number 1. Iowa's in the third quad trial, which surprised me.
There you go. Yeah, and behind 5 of your 6 neighbors, even behind Illinois, who was ranked 23rd. Now
that's painful because
Now, again, the timing of it is related to the data availability. So this takes us through the fiscal year 2016, so 2 years ago. Since then, Iowa has passed some tax cuts. So it is a little bit skewed downwards, probably, in next year and the following year. They'll probably move up a little bit relative to Illinois, but Illinois was doing some good things too. Or they were for a while. It's a mess. But you're ahead of Minnesota, so you got that going for you.
Well, Minnesota is a very liberal state, of course, but they seem to be managing their economy there. Illinois, on the other hand, is a basket case. That's why I was surprised to see Iowa rated behind Illinois. They have huge debts to public retirees that they cannot ever hope to pay.
Right. So one thing I did when I was comparing these in prep for this interview is I looked at years ago I worked at Cato, and one of the first things I got involved with was their fiscal policy report card on the governors, which is somewhat similar to what we're doing here with the Fraser Institute, where you're ranking states, but in that case it was personalized on governors, and they still do this. It's every 2 years. So I said, well, let me see what's going on with in these individual states and see if I can kind of explain why Iowa's ranked where they are. And so what I found is that, so it came out this year, 2018, and theirs is more up to date in the sense that they use some of the proposals that the governors have made to try to, again, personalize it and make it more applicable to what they were trying to do. I mean, not 100%, but so it does bring it up to date more so than ours, because they're using some less complete data on general funds. Probably get into the weeds there, but so Governor Rauner got a B this year. He was the 10th highest governor. And 2 years ago, in 16, which is the year our data goes through, he also got a B. He was the 9th highest. Branstad in 16 got a D. He was the 23rd highest. And then I guess your Governor Reynolds took office too late. She was not in the 2018.
Probably not. No,
she had only been in 1 year or something maybe. But so she wasn't rated there. But certainly the tax cuts that she and the state legislature implemented or phasing in will move you up in the future. So,
well, I'm sure that liberal Democrats in the state of Iowa will be very surprised to hear that Terry Branstad, who has made a career out of fighting with public employees,
right,
and cutting taxes and giving tax breaks to Walmart and places like that. I'm sure they'd be surprised to hear that we're ranked in the third quad trial. Quad trial. I'm going to get it here pretty soon.
But quarter.
Yeah, I am thinking quarters, but sometimes it takes me a couple of times to get it. Anyway, Dean Stanzel is our guest. He's an economist of Southern Methodist University. Maybe we should talk a little bit about how economic freedom is determined.
Yeah, let's do that. So about 30 years ago, Milton Friedman and a couple other Nobel Prize winning economists got together with some folks from the Fraser Institute and the Cato Institute and policy institutes across the globe, and they said, wouldn't it be nice if we had a way to measure the level of economic freedom in societies across the world? And so it took them about 10 years to hash things out and come up with what's called the Economic Freedom of the World Report, which Fraser Institute in Canada, it's a think tank in Canada, releases with Cato and groups all over the globe. So about 10 years after that, they said, well, we could do this for states as well. In the case of Canada, they call them provinces, but we could do this at the subnational level because certainly, freedom varies within countries as well, right? We have states like California and New York that are relatively unfree, and states like Texas and Florida that are relatively free. So they started that up, and we're in our 14th edition this time. I got involved, I think this is the 6th year I've been involved as the primary author. And the way we measure it in this particular report is that we have 3 areas of policy that we look at. We look at government spending, we look at taxation, and we look at labor market restrictions. And within each of those, we simply take there's a total of 10 variables. We take, for example, on spending, we'll look at it as a percentage of income. Same with taxes, because a $5,000 tax burden is much more, if you just look at it per person, is much more burdensome in a poor state like Mississippi than in a rich state like Connecticut. So we look at it as a percentage of average per capita income. And then we grade on a curve, essentially. So otherwise everyone would fail. We get whoever has the highest taxes, for example, as a percent of income, will get a 0. And whoever has the lowest will get a 10. So it's a 0 to 10 scale. Everyone else is proportionally in between. And then we just do that kind of standardizing process for each of the 10 variables, and then average it up and come up with a score. And we do it every year, and so it changes slightly each year, but they're pretty strong trends. Like I said, with New York is at the bottom for I think the 10th year in a row. California is 47th this year, up a little bit, but they've been down 47th or lower for the past 10 years. Florida and Texas have been up in the top 3 or so for the past probably 5 or 10 years. And so there's some consistency over time, and then we take and look at performance, right? What happens in the most free states compared to the least free states? As you mentioned, the term quartile, we break them into 20 quarters or 25%. The most free states had incomes, per capita incomes, about 7.5% above the national average, and in the least free, it's about 10.5% below the national average. So if you think about it, it's basically an 18% raise to move from. It's not that simple, really, but on average, statistically, an 18% raise to move from the least free states to the most free.
Well, are some of the what is life like in some of the more free states? I mean, are the majority of the people prosperous, or did your study indicate anything like that?
So we don't have anything like that, particularly in the report. Other researchers, there have been about 250 research papers using the index over the years, and there have been a handful of those at the state level looking at inequality, I think is what you're referring to, economic inequality. At the country level, there's been a lot more. It's been around longer, and there's more countries than states. And for the most part, the findings of that literature is that there's really no relationship there between the economic freedom scores and the level of economic inequality. Typically they find nothing statistically significant, as we call it in the literature. But when in a handful of cases where they have found something, it tends to be the case that it's a positive relationship. Freer societies tend to have less inequality as opposed to more inequality. So there's some relationship there. And if you think about it, some of these like in the case of the state report, some of these labor market restrictions really are harmful to those at the lower end of the spectrum. And so states that have more restrictive labor markets, it makes it harder for someone who's relatively low skilled to be able to be successful in the labor market, because they've got government interventions standing in the way. Things like occupational licensing requirements disproportionately tend to hurt the low skilled workers, as does the minimum wage for that matter. Oh yeah, I think I told you before that we had a requirement for hairstylists to take 1,500 credit, 1,500 hours or something. I forget what it was, but to be a hairstylist, for God's sake, you needed all these credits and had to go to go borrow money for an $11 an hour job, for God's sake. And I don't know what was there. It was a scam. It was a shameless scam. Right? It's a protection racket for those that are already established, and especially for the bigger, kind of the ones that are chain establishments. They're better able to deal with that hurdle. And there was a case, I think it was Missouri, where it was hair braiding. And this has happened in a couple places. In the African American community, hair braiding is a big thing. And there was a teenager in a couple of places that was skilled at it and was doing it on the side, for friends and family. And a local hair braider who had a business and had, a license. Apparently, they required a license in that state. Got wind of it and made a stink, and this teenager who was earning extra money for her family had to shut it down, because getting the license was too onerous of a restriction in terms of the fees for the test, the number of hours. I mean, she was a regular school student; she didn't have time to go out and get a special license. So anyhow, it can be harmful to people who aren't really in good circumstances.
Well, some states, even Iowa, I believe, require you to have so much training and a license to be an auctioneer. Now, if you want to have an auctioneer, have a retirement auction, sell household goods, they have to be licensed. They have to.
So the Institute for Justice did a report on this, a second report on this recently. They did one a couple years back. But I remember one of the things was interior decorator.
Yeah.
If I remember right, Florida was one of the states that had was one of the only one or two states that required a license for interior decorating, which is a bit ridiculous if you ask me. It's not exactly any danger involved there.
Anyway, let's. There is another paper that Dr. Stanzel sent me, and if you see it on my Facebook page, it'll look like lindenwood.edu/files. I mean, for some reason, it didn't pop up, but
yeah, so that's the Lindenwood Institute there's a research institute at Lindenwood University there in Missouri, and they commissioned this policy paper looking at Missouri's economy, essentially, but also labor market restrictions there. So Missouri's economy is lagged pretty far behind the country. So I went through and basically compared Missouri to all of its immediate neighbors, plus kind of the rest of the Midwestern states that aren't borders to them, but that are still in that same kind of regional neighborhood, and just compared a whole series of economic outcomes like employment growth, unemployment rate, things like that, as well as some of these measures, of labor market restrictions like the minimum wage. They just passed as a referendum, as did Arkansas, a big increase in minimum wage, which is going to make matters worse. But basically on all of this stuff that I looked at 6 measures. For example, employment growth in Missouri has been below the U.S. average for 20 of the last 21 years. And below its regional neighbors average for 17 of those. Their unemployment rate has exceeded their neighbors average for 17 of the last 18 years. The growth of wages and salaries have fallen short 8 years in a row and 13 of the last 15. So across the board, they have not really kept up economically. And when you also do a similar kind of comparison on some of these labor market restrictions, like occupational licensing, the minimum wage, they're pretty far out of whack with their neighbors there too. So we're kind of hypothesizing that there's a connection there, perhaps, that policies and economic outcomes are related somewhat. There are other things that matter too, but some kind of a recipe for them is to clean up some of that stuff. And unfortunately, the voters put in a minimum wage increase, which is going to make it harder. But there are things they can do to scale back some of the licensing requirements, and even their income tax rate is higher than 9 of its 15 regional neighbors. There's a place where they can free up workers to earn more money. So there are things that can be done.
By the way, we mentioned Governor Bruce Rauner. I was a little surprised at the high ranking of Illinois. And Bruce Rauner, a Republican, of course, has been the governor. But he was defeated, I thought he was, in the last election on November 6th. And he was replaced by J. Robert Pritzker. His family owns the Hyatt hotel chain. And he has a personal wealth of $3.5 billion. He's now the wealthiest person in the country to hold political office. The only politician ever to have more money than J.B. Pritzker is Michael Bloomberg. And
I've never heard of the guy. That's interesting.
I never really have either. Yeah. Obviously a very prominent guy, but it's interesting that the Democrats, and here in Iowa, and I know you don't follow this, Dean, but we had Fred Hubbell as the Democratic candidate for governor. Mr. Hubbell was defeated by Republican Kim Reynolds. But Hubbell's family is one of the wealthiest in the state. In fact, I think he sank $65 million of his own money in his campaign. Wow! So the Democrats seem to be putting forward very, very wealthy people, as long as they're okay on. Well, let's see. This Pritzker here is okay with LGBT rights, and he's okay with the legalization of marijuana. Where else he's going, I don't know. I'm very I'm probably in the past, it was usually the Democrats for the working people. And I know that hasn't been for a long time. And Republicans were pro-business, believing in small government and low taxes and that sort of thing. The Milton Friedman approach.
Right.
You know who Milton Friedman is, don't you?
I've heard of that guy.
Yeah. Milton Friedman is Christ arisen to libertarians.
That's pretty good.
He's okay. Yeah, he's okay. I have also posted from the online magazine The Hill an article co-written by Dr. Dean Stanzel, who we're talking with today, that's entitled "Voters Take Note: Economic Freedom Means Economic Growth." That was absolutely Kim Reynolds' argument. That the lower taxes and the more that we made a favorable business climate, the better off we'll all be. And the voters in Iowa bought that. I mean, they even though there were some excesses, like giving Apple Corporation a $50 million tax break, we didn't know, it's the wealthiest country in the world, or wealthiest company in the world. Despite all that, we have had better economic times since we've embraced some of these policies. And there's been more work for people, frankly.
That's the thing, is it benefits not just those at the top, but it benefits those looking for a job, right? When the economy's thriving, it's easier to find a job, and that's something that people often lose sight of. And it's a fairly time-tested strategy to try to free up the economy so that entrepreneurs can be successful, the economy can expand, and unemployment's going down, as low as it can get pretty much everywhere. But I think it's particularly low in Iowa, if I recall.
Well, the Republicans held on. I mean, I'm always going to talk about
the elections. Yeah, we haven't been on since then, have we?
No, we're always going to talk about the political ramifications of policy, frankly. And Dr. Stansel is definitely.
I just have to be careful what I say about politics.
well, no, but the politics the policies derive. Most public policy comes out of the universities. Certainly on the Democratic side.
Sure, but they're implemented through politics.
Right.
It's all part of the same mix,
It is. So the policies that Dr. Stansel is describing, he's working on at the university, he and other academics, the Republicans have embraced, and apparently a lot of people, certainly in our state and around the country, have embraced them. So that's the good news. Socialism didn't seem to work.
Right. Well, and the fact that the Democrats took over the House of Representatives, although their gains weren't as big as typically happens in the midterm elections, I think in some ways it's a good thing. I think divided government tends to work better. I kind of wish they had taken the Senate too, frankly. But the Republicans, as an in control party, tend to at least fiscally govern like Democrats. Right, the spending growth is through the roof. The deficit's going up. And all these promises, we're going to repeal Obamacare and all this stuff. It's a bunch of empty promises that they're not living up to. And I think that when they're out of power, at least, of course, they still have the White House, but that they're more likely to stick to their principles of fiscal conservatism. At least that's my positive spin on the news. I think that there can be benefits to having a divided government. I think it helps.
Well, not only that, but the Democrats seem to be focused on social issues, and their leaders are multimillionaires. And in Mr. Pritzker's case, a billionaire. Nancy Pelosi and Dianne Feinstein are both from very wealthy families in California. They're supposedly the leading lights of liberalism. I'll tell you, they're very, very wealthy people, and they have a tendency to be in the same social circle as other very wealthy people and their supporters. And this has been well known for years that Nancy Pelosi can raise a lot of money for the Democratic Party. Well, she's not raising it from guys making $15 an hour. She's making it. She's raising that kind of money from very, very wealthy people who are. They may say whatever they want to say, but underneath it all, they're more Milton Friedman on the economic policies than they'd like to admit in some cases.
Sure, yeah. But on the other hand, the big businesses can better tolerate an increase in the minimum wage than the small business.
Oh, absolutely.
So in that sense, they're getting what they pay for, and it protects them from some of that competition from the smaller startups that can't afford to pay a $15 minimum wage.
No, well, all of that is true. I go back to Ronald Reagan. He really believed that if you had someone who could run a big company, that big company should take a prominent role. And it wasn't necessarily efficient to have all these little mom and pops banging around all over the country. That was kind of his philosophy. I don't necessarily agree with it, but we're out of time anyway. Dr. Dean Stansel from Southern Methodist University and the O'Neill Center has been our guest. Dean, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, Michael.
All right. This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge.
Divine Intervention at AM 1400 KVFD, where Fort Dodge talk.
Mr. Torvald, didn't seem too happy about being dumped.
Well, you think she carried a grudge for a year?
Or his wife did.
If she knew about his definition of employee relations.
Don't wives always know?
Mine did.
Yours didn't hire a hitman.
Michael Devine, the mayor of Manville.
It's a fancy title for a part-time job.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge 432. City Councilman Dave Flattery is next.
Hello, this is Keely Gunderson with Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services. We believe it is important not only to remember those who are no longer with us, but also the families who are experiencing the holidays without their loved ones. Join us on Sunday, December 2nd at 1:30 at St. Olaf Lutheran Church here in Fort Dodge for our 20th annual Community Service of Remembrance, A Time for Angels. The service will feature messages of hope and inspiration. For more information, please call 576-7128.
This Thanksgiving, clients served by DSOC are thankful to have a warm, safe place to stay and caring, compassionate staff to support them in their journey. Clients and staff are thankful for the donations that come in. Because of your generosity, DSOC is able to continue to provide free and confidential services to victims and survivors in our communities. When everyone at DSOC counts our blessings, donors are at the top of the list. Happy Thanksgiving from everyone at DSOC.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
Good afternoon. I'm Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Iowa Central Community College is looking into switching towards a flat tuition rate for students to replace the current system of tuition based on number of credits students take. Iowa Central President Dan Kinney says the proposal would decrease the students' tuition cost by over $1,000.
This will allow students to take 15 or 18 hours and still have the affordability and complete their degree in a timely manner. This will make it, I think, more affordable for students. It'll make us, I think, as an institution more competitive in the state. This isn't a new model. This is a new model of community colleges.
Iowa Central would be the first community college in Iowa to offer flat tuition and only the second community college in the entire country to offer the program. And Kinney says students would also receive a Surface Go device for the school year to aid in their education. The project, though, is still in the planning stages.
We hope in our December board meeting, we'll have the complete package. We don't have the figures right now, but that we'll have the complete package put together and that we can take and we'll present to the board in our December board meeting. We are hoping this thing will be up and going in 2019.
Webster County is looking for a new emergency management coordinator after Scott Forbes resigned last month. Forbes was rehired to help emergency management part-time until a new coordinator is hired. But at yesterday's Board of Supervisors meeting, it was announced that Forbes will no longer serve on the Emergency Management Commission. Webster County Supervisor Merrill Leffler explained who would take over for Forbes until a replacement is hired.
Between the sheriff and Mr. Van Rank and Carla and myself will fulfill those duties.
To apply for the position of Webster County Emergency Management Coordinator, please go to agency.governmentjobs.com/Webster County IA. Olson Park at 12th Avenue South and 17th Street in Fort Dodge is planning to undergo some upgrades next year, according to City Manager David Fierk on the Divine Intervention Show.
Next year we have I think we're planning on about $950,000 for Olson Park. So we have a rather large project planned for 2019.
Fierk explained what types of changes to the park Fort Dodge residents can expect.
We wanted to finish out what we're going to do with the old lake and pond and play features. We're going to redo the access to the parking lot and things like that. Plan on converting the little road that's inside there into a bike trail.
Sure.
And then making the parking lot access directly off Olson Park Avenue.
The project will first have to be approved by the Fort Dodge City Council at a future City Council meeting. Unity Point Health closed its orthopedic clinic in Fort Dodge last week on Wednesday, and the closure puts into question the future of athletic training services in the Fort Dodge Community School District. FDCSD Superintendent Jesse Ulrich addressed these concerns at Monday's school board meeting.
Not having an athletic trainer is not an option. So we will have an athletic trainer. It's a matter of legally, contractually, how those services are provided in the district. So we are going to continue to gather information and engage with Unity Point to hopefully benefit our students.
Fort Dodge Senior High School currently has Unity Point Health employee Bree Dries in the position of athletic trainer. Ulrich says he hopes to maintain the relationship with Unity Point Health in the future.
Long term, it makes sense to be able to partner with Unity Point and be able to provide athletic training services for our students. As far as the district goes, our #1 priority is student safety. for those students engaged in our extracurricular activities.
This has been Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Have a great day.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. Bright sunshine this afternoon with highs around 44. South winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. Clear skies and quiet again. Tonight, lows level off around 24. Highs around 45. Tomorrow, mainly clear. Cloudy skies expected Friday with highs in the low 40s. Chance for snow Saturday. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 42.
Here's a look at how the markets closed today. December corn up a half a cent at $3.67. March up a quarter penny at $3.78. May corn unchanged at $3.85 3/4, and July down a penny at $3.92 1/4. November soybeans up 3 1/4 at $8.70 1/2. January up 5 1/4 at $8.83 1/2. March beans up a nickel at $8.96 3/4. May up 5 1/4 at $9.10 1/4. December wheat closed down 4 3/4 at $5.03. Soybean meal up $1.80 a ton at $3.0570. December live cattle down 77 cents at $114.60. February down 15 at $118.60. November feeder cattle unchanged at $148.97. January unchanged at $146.97. December lean hogs down 30 cents at $57, and February up 17 cents at $62.35. From the farm desk, I'm Dwayne Murley.
From the Fox Business Network, all Wall Street stocks closing lower, with the Dow logging its longest losing streak in 3 months. Among the laggards today, tech companies and financials, while energy companies and industrials gained. And Apple suffering its 5th down session as the Dow component flirted with bear market territory. The Dow closing down 206 points, NASDAQ down 64, S&P 500 down 21. And Uber Technologies reporting widening third-quarter losses due to growth in its food delivery service, Uber Eats, and other businesses. However, revenue grew 38% to over $2.9 billion compared with the year earlier period, and Uber also reported bookings grew 34% from a year ago. Looking ahead, the company is investing in future growth across all platforms, including in food, freight, electric bikes, and scooters, and high-potential markets in India and the Middle East. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Hillary Barsky.
And now, the worst commercial ever.
As a real-life caterer, my recipe for success is a heaping helping of commercial auto and business insurance through Progressive. They helped whip up a customized insurance solution that keeps my business cooking.
That barrage of bad wordplay was most unpleasant. Whereas commercial auto and business insurance through Progressive is anything but. Visit progressivecommercial.com to quote today. Insurance provided and serviced by Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. It's affiliated and third-party insurers.
Hey parents and kids, you're gonna love this. Starting in November at Fort Frenzy, you can get a monthly pass for just $25. That means you get unlimited attraction play, 10% off food and select drinks in the cafe, exclusive deals and promotions. But that's not all. You'll also get enrollment into the Fort Frenzy Rewards program. The Fort Frenzy monthly pass is just $25, and you can add a person for just $10 extra. Sign up now at the front desk. Fort Frenzy,
where it's all fun and games. Fort Frenzy.
Hey, you want to do a rhyme? 1, 2, buckle my belt. That's not how it goes.
Yes, it is. It only takes 2 seconds to buckle up, Mom. 1, 2, buckle my belt.
Oh, I see what you did there. Very clever and very true. Now, can we finish the rhyme?
As long as your hands are on the wheel and your eyes are on the road.
Thanks, buddy.
It only takes 2 seconds to buckle up. This message brought to you by the Iowa Department of Public Safety, Governor's Traffic Safety Bureau.
In farming, there's only one chance each year to make the right choice in seed. At Stein, we know that starts with choosing the right genetics. Decades of in-depth research and a tireless focus on quality have culminated in a better choice for growers. Featuring higher population, higher performance, and higher yields, our unique, high-yielding corn gives growers a proven edge. Make each crop count by choosing the right genetics this growing season. Choose Stein corn because Stein has yield.
Michael Devine, when you want compelling talk.
We stand in solidarity with them in hunting down the perpetrators of this crime and bringing them to justice.
AM 1400 KVFD and Dave Flannery. Totally overrated.
Okay, that's the last time I'm playing that. Because Dave Flattery's here, and it's great to see you, Dave. You're not totally overrated. That's from Nevin Mulholland,
right.
Who may be overrated himself.
He's overrated.
He's a little overrated.
Yeah, he's overrated.
He's totally overrated.
He likes to brag too.
So we've had trouble getting Dave here. He's got to work and all that sort of
thing. You got to put bread on the table.
Got to put bread on the table. So how's that going anyway? You making any money over there?
A little bit, yeah. And then you know Friday afternoons you want to get away from the weekend, so it's a little difficult too.
Yeah. Well,
like last week we went to the Iowa State Missouri game.
Yeah.
Basketball game. Early start, so that was fun.
Well, you got to be happy about the Iowa State football team.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Who are they playing this weekend?
Playing Texas.
Texas. That's right. God, I've lost my mind at a sporting event twice. Once when my son was wrestling down at senior high. And the other time was at a Texas-Iowa State game when Paul Rhodes was still coach. And it was just flagrant that Texas had fumbled the ball. But the refs were all had Southern accents, and this one ref just seemed to like to come over right in front of the Iowa State fans and call a penalty on the Iowa State team at a crucial time. Paul Rhodes went just nuts after that game, and I believe the entire officiating crew was suspended after that game. But Texas still went in the record books as winning the game.
Right.
So,
right.
But I wonder what happened to Paul Rhodes now that Brian, what's his name, is out at Arkansas. I think I heard he was at Fresno State or something.
Yeah, I thought he was out west, maybe UCLA somewhere.
I don't think UCLA. I think Fresno.
Defensive back coach or something.
Yeah, he was a defensive back. It is.
Maybe that is it. But out in California is where I think he ended up. But this Matt Campbell, who Iowa State has now as their head coach, outstanding. I mean, he's got the program is structured. It's disciplined. He's got it running the way he wants it to run. He's got the personnel in place, both the coaching staff and now I think with the players that he has in place. And I think he's got the depth that he needs.
He does
to both offensively and particularly defense. In the Big 12 is really challenging with the offensive weapons that each team has. You've got to have a good defense to just to sustain. And I think they've done great. I think they're averaging just less than two touchdowns per game in the Big 12 or something like that. Phenomenal. Years ago, we would have never even dreamed of that.
Oh, no, not back in the Donnie Duncan days. We wouldn't have thought about that.
Well, then and then he's got. I like his offense. He's got a running quarterback option, and that has just opened up.
Let's not forget we're working with our third string quarterback.
Right.
But what a star he turned out.
Oh, yeah. Well, everybody knew coming in he had potential, but we knew that someday he'd be a good quarterback. But
kid's a freshman.
It's just a freshman. He's got poise. He's got moxie. He sees the field very well. He makes good decisions.
He's very collected.
Right.
I mean, he is calm under pressure.
Right.
For such a young guy.
Yes. That's
really rare.
And in Iowa State, I think they only start maybe 6 seniors on both sides of the field of the line. So, that's impressive too. They got a lot of kids coming back next year, and hopefully we'll have Campbell back next year.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope we do. It all depends on what happens at Iowa State.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if Urban Meyer's coming back, but
you wonder.
That's another story altogether.
Right. But you gotta make hay while he's still at Iowa State and invest in facilities so that you elevate the program more, just in case a Campbell would leave. So it would be advantageous for another good coach to come in and then be successful again and just keep raising that bar. Kind of really somewhat similar to K-State, but Snyder's been down there for years, and he's did the impossible down there at K-State.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Well, and listening to Matt Campbell talk football is like listening to Dan Gable talk wrestling.
Yeah.
And but Gable's 70. Gable's an old warrior. But Campbell, you can tell that his management skills are extraordinary.
Right.
I mean, he has got every player coached to exactly where that player needs to be on both sides of the line.
Yeah.
And he knows his game plan and he expects his players to execute and he helps them execute. That's the key. Helps them execute.
Exciting times. Iowa State's basketball seems to be back up on the rise again.
Fromm's a good coach.
But they'll be tested this weekend, next week in Maui. And then you got Iowa State football. They're looking at a $90 million expansion project in the north end zone that will be terrific for not only Iowa State itself, but the student athlete. I'm not exactly sure what this going to house in there, but there again, as a Campbell, you're looking at the innovation and the investment that's going on in that program, maybe he doesn't want to leave.
Yeah.
I would think that Ames is an easier place to recruit than Manhattan, Kansas.
I would think.
Manhattan, Kansas is way out there in no man's land. My son went there and played there.
Mhm.
And I think it'd be a lot harder.
That's right. Joe did, didn't
Yeah, he did.
Baseball.
Mhm. Baseball. Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, if they can do it at Kansas State, I think they can do it in Ames, Iowa.
Well, I was Nevin was on here a week or two ago, and I was talking about why anybody would want to go to Lincoln, Nebraska. Scott Frost, by the way, is going to do a good job in Nebraska.
Already is.
Sooner or later, he'll bring that. What do they won? 2 games now.
Yes.
And a couple of pretty good teams, I think.
Actually, they won 3. I think they drilled Illinois last week.
Yes, they did.
By about 20.
Of course, Illinois is awful.
Right. But still, based on how they started the season to where they are now.
Yeah.
If I'm a Hawkeye fan, I'm probably looking over my shoulder and saying, "Oh, this Nebraska."
I don't want to talk about the Hawkeyes, Dave. They just look terrible. They just, and Nevin called Matt Campbell correctly, but he didn't call Stanley very well. He didn't call the quarterback very well. Big, strong kid, but boy, he's been kind of a disappointment. And I can only hope the Hawkeyes do better. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah.
On the other hand, it's been fun to have the Cyclones where they are.
Yeah.
The UNI Panthers under Farley, and I'm a big Farley fan. They really haven't had a couple of good years recently, and I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what the deal is.
I don't know what the deal is there. You just it's just been kind of a given that UNI is always going to be in the top 10 in that division.
Yeah.
And make it and always challenge for the national championship. But last couple of years, he hasn't. So maybe it's the fact that, during those years that UNI was good, he had some players that the big universities the D1 universities overlooked. David Johnson, is a good example. And UNI comes play Iowa State, and they just drilled us.
Yeah.
and so maybe Iowa State's and Iowa's doing a better job evaluating the local talent, and they're not slipping away and getting into falling into UNI. So
you look back on the season that Iowa State and Iowa have had. It's kind of a surprise now that Iowa actually beat Iowa State early in the year. I thought that I'd like to see him play again and see who wins.
Well, I certainly would too. But all he can do is just look back. But with the quarterback situation opening up, that's made a big change in the look of Iowa State's offense and having that running dimension.
Yeah,
that's hard to defend.
It is.
And he is so crafty and creative when he's on the open field. So, and he's got good receivers to throw to, and he's got a whole bevy of backs that he can hand off to as well. So
anyway, City Councilman Dave Flattery is our guest. And if you have a question or comment for the councilman, 515-955-1400. I had Menke in here a little earlier.
Well, really? What do you talk about?
Well, Terry's always prepared, as you know.
Well, yeah, I know he always is, and he's great. But a couple things. If at our next council meeting, I don't know if Terry mentioned this, but we've got 2 public hearings. The first one is going to be on the First Avenue South and 15th Street improvements that are going on, and that intersection will be similarly designed to 27th and 29th out by the mall, and it's all about getting that traffic to move more smoothly and getting the left turns on 15th Street to not back up so much. And what you'll see is a much better engineered intersection there. And we'll look at Central Avenue. I don't think that's part of that public hearing. The other thing is the dam removal.
That's what he talked about.
There'll be a public hearing on the dam removal. So, and that's an interesting process. What hopefully will go through this whole stream bank mitigation program that's been proposed that will help fund the repayment of that bond. It's all new to us. I know it's been implemented in other states for a number of years. I think Oklahoma and Georgia in particular use that. And what happens when we do dam removal, that helps preserve the riverbank, and it gets it back to its natural setting. And by doing that, for every so many feet, you get so much in these mitigation, stream bank mitigation credits, and they can be used by other government entities that here's where I go a little foggy, but let's say you're putting a bridge over the Des Moines River or the Boone River. and you are disrupting the natural habitat of that area, you can invest in the stream bank mitigation to offset the restoration of that bank. So it can be pretty lucrative. Now the question is, how much are those credits going to be worth, and how much can we actually use? But I think in the state of Iowa, we're one of the first communities to take advantage of this, and hope that we can, and we'll, by taking the dams out, we'll create these stream bank mitigation credits available for resale. So, and we can use those for projects in the community.
You know, there's always some board of bureaucrats that comes out of nowhere. Minky was talking about the Travel Advisory Board or something.
Really?
Is that the Travel Advisory Board that he was talking about? The advisory board of some kind.
He's into it deeper than I am.
Yeah, I know.
I just basically just know the surface.
So when is this meeting coming up?
It'll be the 26th is our next council meeting.
26th is the next council meeting on the 26th.
Yeah.
I did want to ask you, and this is something that Minky and I covered about Olson Park.
Yes.
Now we were all charged, Minky and I and some others were. Last year, we seemed to have a plan for Olson Park. We seemed to have money for Olson Park. And, I just stopped talking about it, stopped thinking about it. I kind of trusted that project would go ahead because I really think Olson Park is a jewel in our city.
Sure, I do too.
And I think it should be preserved, and I think it's shunted aside in some ways for other projects in our city, or maybe a decision has been made to push economic development to the north and east of our town. That's fine, but let's take care of Olson Park because it is truly a jewel.
I agree.
So what can you tell us, or what is your attitude towards Olson Park and seemingly the lack of progress that has taken place in moving forward with the plans for Olson Park?
It's a function of funding, having the available resources to do the type of improvements.
Don't we have the funding to get it done?
You're asking me. You'd have to ask Terry more. That's his passion. Mine's more towards trails and recreation.
Okay,
but that is part of recreation. But I'm confident that Dean Hill and Terry Menke are working with the right people to get it done. I can't. I'm not like Terry. He looks at everything. He's an excellent city council member, but I don't have the time to do the detail analysis that he does. And I trust that.
Well, Menke has an undergraduate degree in research, so he does. He comes in here and he finds everything. He finds crazy things on the internet that pertain in state law and federal laws. And man, he comes in here. I'll tell you.
And he's. I think he'd make a good mayor. Whenever the Mayor Bemrick would step aside, I hope he. Mayor's here for a long time.
I hope he is as well.
And I know
some people would like to see him run for Steve King's seat.
I think that could be a potential.
Yeah.
Speaking of the elections, I was sorry to see Merrill Loeffler.
I didn't see the reason why Merrill was voted out of office. I did not see the reason we need to make a change there.
I didn't either, but I think Nikki Conrad will be fine as well. When you look at Merrill, if I've said in a lot of meetings with him, he's fiscally responsible as anybody we have as a local elected official. He's a leader amongst the supervisors, but I think that Nikki will do a fine job as well. She's probably a visionary, much like me. Where
Merrill was more a balance the budget guy.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And was a leader.
And that's
in that
a
area.
huge skill, by the way.
Especially when you don't have a city manager.
Yeah.
Or a county manager.
County manager.
I don't know what, as council members, what we would do if we were trying to run the city. We're too big.
Barrick is a sharp guy. He's a very,
very,
very sharp guy.
Very fortunate to have him.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a sharp
Mike,
guy.
Next time, let me know. I'll do a little more research on Olson Park and try to get you. I'm not up to snuff on Olson Park where we're at on that. So,
well, the mayor will be in tomorrow. I should text the mayor and tell him I want to talk about Olson Park. I should,
Yeah, right.
Here I am springing it on you. You didn't know we were going to talk about Olson Park, but if I
didn't even know it was going to be here till this morning.
No, I appreciate it. I'll start. I'll start trying to get you in at late in the afternoon, not on Fridays.
Right. Right.
If that'll work better for you, because some of the city councilmen don't want to be on with me because, I insulted them.
Other things that we're working on. Of course, my biggest issue is we have got to make the city attractive so that we bring skilled labor here.
Yeah.
And so I think we have the ability to get jobs here, but it's trying to get that skilled labor into our community.
Where are we at with the warden?
Okay. there's three components to that project. You've got the warden, you've got the intermodal parking ramp, and then you've got the rec center itself. And our next target date will be the build grant, which we've applied for in June, and we are seeking a grant in the amount of $7.6 million as part of $11 million intermodal parking ramp, which will go right in between the restored warden and the proposed rec center. And that parking ramp will be used to facilitate DART buses, drop off for the rec center. It will also be there to provide much needed parking for the warden. The warden by itself, I don't think has any future without that parking ramp.
Yeah. A man called yesterday when David Furyk was on the air, and he had a great question. He asked, is the rec center over there at the warden going to be big enough for our town and for our needs? Which is a great question.
Yes.
I wondered about that myself.
And I you know what, that question was posed to me just the other day too. And based on what I've seen and the blueprints, I think it's like it's 100,000 square foot facility and somewhere in that range. And right now, what do we have? 30,000 square foot facility?
I don't know. We're talking a rec center that used to be the old white MCA, and then we're talking the place out on the highway there. Isn't that part of the rec?
You mean
by Fort Dodge Rental out there, right by 22nd Street and a kitty corner from the Community Tap and Pizza. You know what I'm talking about. There's a rec center out there.
Oh, you mean, yeah.
What is the name of it?
Something
Fitness.
Something Fitness. You and I have obviously been there.
Yeah, we've been there. Oh, I've been there.
Have you really?
Yeah,
I've
absolutely.
not been there.
Oh, I have been. Yeah, I have. The radio station gets us a membership. And
I've been to the Community Tap, but not the.
The Community Tap. I've been to the Community Tap for many years. I've been going to the Community Tap. Anyway,
But anyway, it's moving. Getting back to your initial question.
Yeah.
We'll know in late December about the intermodal fund, and we've made a great application to the federal government for this build funding. I know that we've got a delegation of I think a party of 4 heading out late November, including the mayor, to help lobby for this funding. It fits right into the qualifications of this build grant. I would be disappointed. Congressman King has been helping spearhead this effort and has been giving us the right lead contact people to talk to within the Department of Transportation. They're encouraging, will be encouraging Senator Ernst and Senator Grassley to make a personal visit to the DOT. I know King has already done that as well, but they want to get them up to snuff while they're out there with Grassley and Ernst. To me, it's an outstanding project, and it really could turn the downtown around.
Dave Flattery's been our guest. Thank you so much, Dave.
All right, Mike.
5 o'clock in the afternoon. You're listening to KVFD in Fort Dodge, Iowa. Thank you very much.
Capitol Hill drama. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. A Republican senator threatening to withhold support on President Trump's judicial nominees unless there's a vote to protect the special counsel job.
Arizona Republican Jeff Flake says he won't support any judicial nominee until legislation designed to limit the Trump administration's authority to fire special counsel Robert Mueller gets a vote.
The point of this vital investigation seems to have been purposely confused and maligned by the White House in a rather alarming way.
Republican leader Mitch McConnell says the legislation isn't necessary and the special counsel's investigation is not threatened. He objected to a unanimous consent request from Flake and Delaware Democrat Chris Coons to start considering the legislation.
Fox's Jared Halpern on Capitol Hill. Something Democrats and Republicans can agree on. President Trump backing the idea of prison reform. Fox's Grinnell Scott has more live.
Lisa, the president was joined by many of those legislators at the White House to announce support for the First Steps Act, designed to give inmates a second chance at life after prison. The president says a key pillar of the bill to motivate inmates
to learn the skills they need to find employment, avoid old habits, and follow the law when they're released from prison.
It will also strengthen sentencing guidelines for more violent offenders. While some Democrats say the bill doesn't go far enough, The president urges passage during this lame duck session, Lisa.
Thanks, Grinnell. Authorities in Memphis say 2 people have died, 44 hurt after a tour bus overturned in northern Mississippi. They're saying icy conditions on the roads may have caused the crash. British Prime Minister Theresa May has persuaded her cabinet to back a draft Brexit agreement with the European Union. Wall Street at the close. Tech companies and banks led stocks lower. The Dow lost 205. The Nasdaq fell 64. The S&P off 20 points. This is Fox News.
How can a fully stocked restroom improve your image? How can serviced fire extinguishers or a first aid cabinet make your employees more prepared? How can comfortable work apparel make your business more productive? For over 1 million customers, the answer is simple. Cintas. Cintas delivers everything you need to open your doors with confidence. Because helping keep businesses well-equipped, clean, and looking their best, that's our business. Oh, I'm ready! Get Cintas and get ready for the workday.
It's a crisp fall morning. Time for your daily pumpkin soy latte. As you wait for your coffee, you get a buzz. No, it's not your boss wanting extra whipped cream, but your ADT video doorbell. It's a package. Your new latte machine. No more $5 PSLs. Barista service. Brought to you by ADT. Designing and installing a smart home just for you. Backed by best-in-class 24/7 protection. Learn more at ADT.com. ADT. Real protection. License information available at ADT.com.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
Good afternoon. I'm Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Iowa Central Community College is looking into switching towards a flat tuition rate for students to replace the current system of tuition based on number of credits students take. Iowa Central President Dan Kinney says the proposal would decrease the students' tuition cost by over $1,000.
This will allow students to take 15 or 18 hours and still have the affordability and complete their degree in a timely manner. This will make it, I think, more affordable for students. It'll make us, I think, as an institution more competitive in the state. This isn't a new model. This is a new model of community colleges.
Iowa Central would be the first community college in Iowa to offer flat tuition and only the second community college in the entire country to offer the program. And Kinney says students would also receive a Surface Go device for the school year to aid in their education. The project, though, is still in the planning stages.
We hope in our December board meeting, we'll have the complete package. We don't have the figures right now, but that we'll have the complete package put together and that we can take and we'll present to the board in our December board meeting. We are hoping this thing will be up and going in 2019.
Webster County is looking for a new emergency management coordinator after Scott Forbes resigned last month. Forbes was rehired to help emergency management part-time until a new coordinator is hired. But at yesterday's Board of Supervisors meeting, it was announced that Forbes will no longer serve on the Emergency Management Commission. Webster County Supervisor Merrill Leffler explained who would take over for Forbes until a replacement is hired.
Between the sheriff and Mr. Van Ryn and Carla and myself will fulfill those duties.
To apply for the position of Webster County Emergency Management Coordinator, please go to agency.governmentjobs.com/Webster County IA. Olson Park at 12th Avenue South and 17th Street in Fort Dodge is planning to undergo some upgrades next year, according to City Manager David Fierk on the Divine Intervention Show.
Next year we have I think we're planning on about $950,000 for Olson Park. So we have a rather large project planned for 2019.
Fierk explained what types of changes to the park Fort Dodge residents can expect.
We wanted to finish out what we're going to do with the old lake and pond and play features. We're going to redo the access to the parking lot and things like that. Plan on converting the little road that's inside there into a bike trail.
Sure.
And then making the parking lot access directly off Olson Park Avenue.
The project will first have to be approved by the Fort Dodge City Council at a future City Council meeting. Unity Point Health closed its orthopedic clinic in Fort Dodge last week on Wednesday, and the closure puts into question the future of athletic training services in the Fort Dodge Community School District. FDCSD Superintendent Jesse Ulrich addressed these concerns at Monday's school board meeting.
Not having an athletic trainer is not an option. So we will have an athletic trainer. It's a matter of legally and contractually how those services are provided in the district. So we are going to continue to gather information and engage.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's the Dave Ramsey Show, where dad is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. This is your show. Thanks for joining us. Open phones at 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Aaron is with us in Indianapolis starting off this hour. Hi, Aaron. How are you?
I'm doing great, Dave. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Awesome. Well, my dad moved in with us a couple of years ago and no longer works due to health issues. Got stage 4 cancer. Of course, while he was working, he purchased a car and getting back and forth to work to get rid of his old clunker. And now that he's not working with the car, the insurance, meds, and things like that, his Social Security is the only income at this time. So that's obviously not going to cover it. I know he's getting a little behind on stuff. We're trying to help him out. So I'm wondering if we should just go ahead and pause our debt snowball and start working to kind of help out his situation, kind of as since he does live with us at the time now to as one family just kind of work on.
No, I would not pay his debts. I think it's wonderful that you're giving him a place to live and you're taking care of him while he's fighting cancer, but there's no point in paying his debts. It doesn't serve any purpose at all. He needs to sell the car, doesn't he?
Yeah, we currently have it for sale. Just haven't got any hits on it, so I can either start lowering the price or make it a little more marketable.
Yeah, absolutely. And how much other debt has he got?
Just basically I think it's just the car, and had a storage unit.
He had a storage unit with a bunch of stuff in it?
Yes.
Well, I guess we need to sell off the stuff and get rid of the storage unit and use that money, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's fairly easy.
Yeah.
So if you sell the car and you sell the stuff out of the storage unit, he doesn't have any expenses if he's living with you. I think
then it's just his medical stuff after that.
Yeah, and don't sign for that.
Right.
That's it. You can take care of him without, you getting on the hook for $1 million worth of cancer treatments.
Right.
And so, don't blur the lines on what taking care of him means. You see what I'm saying? When you go over and start stepping into his financial obligations and taking those on, that's a whole lot different than taking care of him while he's, fighting a cancer fight.
Right.
How old is he?
He'll be 65 next month.
Okay. And you said stage 4. What's the prognosis?
It was 3 to 10 initially, but that was, I think, before they saw the bone scans and saw kind of where all it's spread. So I think that's kind of the 3 to 10 is definitely a little progressive. I think
months, 3 to 10 months.
No, I'm sorry. It was 3 to 10 years, and I'm thinking the 3 years is pushing that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I'm sorry you guys are having to walk through this. The least of his problems then are cars and storage units, but to relieve stress, you can clean out those two things and help him get rid of those two obligations without you having to sign up for his debts. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, yes, you take care of him. He's your dad, and that's wonderful. And I think I want to completely hear you, embrace that. And I'm so sorry you guys are facing this. It's such a gut-wrenching thing to go through emotionally. Okay. Now, then let's deal with what happens someday. We all pass away. What happens when he passes away? If he has debt and he passes away, it doesn't get paid. But if you start taking it on, then his debt survives him and you are now obligated. So
on the hook.
Yeah. And so a real cold way of saying it, I don't want you to misunderstand my lack of compassion, because it's not one. I hear you. I know what you guys are fashioning, but make sure you take care of him, but let his debt pass away when he does.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Because, if you die and you owe money and there's no assets, which is his situation, they don't get paid. Right. They don't get paid. And so that's what I mean by there's no reason. Let's do the best we can do to get this off of him. But on a scale of 1 to 10, this debt stuff is a 1 and cancer is a 10, right?
Right.
In terms of things to worry about, things to be stressed about or whatever. So I want to concentrate on that, but I'm so glad you're there for him and that he's got a place and, you can take care of him and those kinds of things. And it's the way it should be. So, hey, thanks for the call. Open phones at 888-825-5225. You jump in. We'll talk about your life and your money. Dave, my husband and I both purchased the newest iPhone earlier this year before getting on your plan. I say we purchased, we financed it. Should we include this in our debt snowball because it is actually part of our phone bill? All debt is in your debt snowball. If you're paying payments on your iPhone, oh God, yeah, you would pay that off. So, put it in your debt snowball. Just because you're paying the payment as a part of your phone bill doesn't mean you don't have a payment. You have a payment. And so, clear it up. Clear it up as fast as you can. It's like you would any other debt and so forth. So there you go. Open phones at 888-825-5225. That question came from the Ramsey Baby Steps community, which is a private Facebook group of ours that has almost 100,000 of you, or maybe more than 100,000 of you now. And more now, and they're telling me. And so, but go check it out. There's all kinds of wonderful discussions and a few crazy things and all that kind of stuff. And so, let's get her done and jump in and check it out. The Ramsey Baby Steps community. It's the Ramsey Baby Steps community. And that way you'll know it's the actual one. Because there's a few of them out there that are not authorized or official. Somebody just started up and said, we're going to talk about Dave Ramsey. Well, you're allowed to do that. I'm mad at you about that. But this is the official one. So there you go. Changes everything, right? Dave, my wife and I are gazelle intense on paying off our home in 6 years, but it means putting a total of 33% of our take-home pay with the extra payments towards the mortgage. It works out in our every dollar budget, but are we crazy? I don't know. You put whatever you want to on it. As long as while you're doing baby step 6, you're doing baby steps 4 and 5. 15% of your income going into retirement, something towards kids' college. And then if you jack up and add to what you are putting on the house, that's wonderful. Get her paid off. I don't care. Nothing wrong with that. Thanks for following us on Twitter, Joe. This is the Dave Ramsey Show. A common theme around here is teaching people how to make smart choices. Whether it's with your money or with your business, you have to be intentional with every decision you make. As an example, if you're a business owner needing to hire new team members, don't waste your time searching job sites full of resumes that aren't right for the position you're hiring. The smart thing to do is to go to ZipRecruiter.com/Dave to hire the right person. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful matching technology scans thousands of resumes, identifies people with the right skills, education, and experience for your job, and actively invites them to apply so you get qualified candidates fast. And right now, my listeners can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Dave. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Dave. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Hey, this is Rachel Cruz. Dad has always drilled into us that you can buy quality things and still get a great deal. That's why I love Tuft & Needle mattresses. Tuft & Needle offers amazing mattresses for every budget. And now they have a brand new mattress called Mint. They took their best mattress and made it even better. It's incredible. Try Tuft & Needle for 100 nights risk-free at tn.com. That's tn.com. And remember, it ships for free. That's tn.com.
I know it's back to school season, but that doesn't mean you have to stress out about what's for dinner. For almost 10 years, I've been telling you about my friends at eMeals who make meal planning and shopping virtually stress-free. You can even have your groceries gathered for pickup or for delivery right from the eMeals app. It's the smartest way to save money every month. And you'll be a hero as your family eats delicious, healthy dinners together. Sign up for a free 2-week trial today at eMeals.com.